everyone, and welcome to episode number 48 of the Friday Nightmares podcast. Today's episode is a very special one. It is our 2021 awards episode. I am one third of your hosting team this evening, coming to you from the town of Swartz Creek, in the county of Genesee, in the state of Michigan, in the United States of America, in the North American continent, in the Western Hemisphere, on the planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy. Fully vaxxed, waxed, boosted, and ready to climax. And if you can, please get me wet and feed me after midnight. I am Smokeshow Crawford, and with me, as always, is
Heather Powell, coming to you today from Waterdown, Ontario, Canada. Can't believe we're finally at the end of our year list, and we have a very special guest with us.
We do.
He's best friends with Scott and good acquaintances with me.
And my boyfriend. My boyfriend.
Even though I tell him that I love him like every day now, I think he's just getting more and more creeped out. He is one of the most talented podcasters that I know. He has exceptional taste when it comes to movies. Like, I know when he brings his awards to this, he's going to be very thoughtful. He's going to really analyze films well. And he's someone that I really respect his opinion of when it comes to movies and life in general. He is 1/3 of the Exploding Heads team, and his name is Brandon Orlick. Hi, Brandon.
Hi guys! Wow, what praise!
I
Scott,
know.
what an intro. We're no longer friends after that. And
Finally.
just so you know, Heather, I've updated you to Facebook acquaintance now.
Awesome. I've always wanted to have more Facebook acquaintances.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of my hashtag 2022 goals. So, but thanks so much for being here, Brandon. We know you're fresh off of doing Exploding Heads. So
No, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this. I love the format for the show. The whole idea of awards is great. Like you just said, I recorded last night with EH, and we did our top 21 of 21. It was close to 6 hours of recording. It was a very long show, which we don't do anymore. So we're all pretty worn out, but I'm looking forward to this. We're going to highlight a ton of great films from what I think was a pretty great year, actually.
Yeah, I'm excited because, like, speaking of just this year in general, like, I think 2020 had more, like, in the top 10s for me, more impactful films, but just like quality wise and quantity wise, like, there is a lot of good movies this year, because I think I had over 58 out of 10s.
wow,
more.
but you rate high though. So Scott,
I do rate high,
in all
but
fairness, Scott is impressed by very little. As you can tell, he's best friends with Brandon and I. So it doesn't take much. And to be honest, like, the three of us, like, to give a little behind the scenes, we're pretty tight. We talk almost every day over the phone. Shut the fuck up, Brandon. We are pretty tight. Stop pretending that we're not friends. Fuck's sakes. Fine that you don't love me, Brandon, but at least don't deny our friendship. But yeah, so we talk all the time, and we talk about movies all throughout the year. So it's really awesome to have Brandon here, because I just feel like I'm working with my two best friends. Like, it's honestly the best.
I'm just teasing you. Everyone knows Helen and I are really close.
You and Helen are super. That's my alter ego, by the way, everyone. Actually, that's my head, because people that may not be aware, I have the head the size of a bowling ball, so it actually has its own name, which is
has its own zip code
and postal code for all my Canadian friends. Yes, zip code and postal code. It's so large. But Scott, for the awards, you wanted to first talk about how many films we've each watched. So why don't you go first?
All right. So yeah, like, everyone knows that we watch a ton of movies, obviously, from our show. We talk about it on our What We Watched all the time for the newer films and older films. Newer films, I have watched 189 2021s, which is about 40 shy of what I did last year, but that's because work got busier and I started getting busier in my personal life as well.
Yeah,
so.
He's got some gigs. Yeah, he did.
But yeah, so I made it to 189 films this year, which I'm still proud of. I still watched a lot of movies. But yeah, I'm curious to see how many both of you have watched.
Well, I feel like I should go next, because we all know who has the highest number here. So we'll just go from lowest to highest. Now, Scott, I know you counted King Kong versus Godzilla as a horror film, right? On your list?
I did take it off my list and put it in my non-horror section.
Did you? Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I watched 208 2021 films this year, which I think was only 20 down or 15 down. Like, it wasn't a big change from last year. I can actually look up pretty quickly, but because I remember you won last year, Scott, but I was just behind you. So I
Yeah.
watched last year 230. So it's only about what would that be? 22 film different from last year. So a chunk, but still over the 200 mark. But I am nowhere near the stud muffin that we have next. So Brandon, how many films did you watch this year?
I don't think you can handle this number. So
So
last year, I believe I did 239. This year, the final tally. And again, some of these I did eliminate as non-horror. So maybe a half a dozen of these would come off. But 288 2021s.
Wow.
And,
Wow. Together,
crazy.
we all watched what Mark Nato did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I'll say this, I'm kind of the opposite on my feel from what Scott said. I felt like, especially after doing the show last night and really diving into my top films, I feel like this film had a heavier top 10 than last year's for me. And I felt like I had less 8 out of 10s. I think I was at something like 45, whereas last year I was in the probably 65 and I watched 50 less films. But, you know, maybe it's because, Scott, you watched less films, but maybe more quality.
Maybe that could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Scott doesn't watch a lot of quality films. This is the man that watched Human Hibachi earlier this year.
I literally, I will
Don't
say,
spoil his number one.
Oh, sorry.
I will
My
say,
bad.
I will say, out of the 189 films I watched, there were only 3 that were 4 out of 10 or less.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Others were at least 5s or higher.
What was the 4? What were the 3? Sorry. What were the 3 that were really bad?
I'll have to look them up real quick. But Human Hibachi, obviously.
Human Hibachi. What about The Resort?
The Resort I never watched because you told me to
yeah, it
not
was
bother.
so bad. Brandon watched that for the helicopter
It
scene.
was bad, and I still think I gave it like probably like a 4.5. Like it was bad, but it didn't make my bottom 5. I've watched a lot of crap films this year, especially the first half of the year. Like honestly, I talked about it last night. I felt like halfway through this year, or last year now, that my number one film might be a 5 out of 10. Like that's how bad it was early on.
Yeah. Like the 3 of us watched. Sometimes we watch movies together. Unfortunately, they've all been shitty in our opinions. We watched Hunted. That was the first film we watched, and we were like, "What?" Brandon actually and I got into a debate at the end of that one, but it was so bad. It was so bad.
That was
and
the best part of the movie.
That was the best part of the movie. And
made my bottom 5.
Did it really make your bottom 5?
Yes, it did.
To be in your
it made other bottom 5s too. And I watched close to 300 films, and it made my bottom 5.
That's amazing.
It made other people's bottom 5s last night.
All right, so I found my list of the lower ranked ones. So Human Hibachi is at the lowest ranking at a out of 2 out of 10. 1031 Part 2 is a 3 out of 10. And then Climate of the Hunter is 3 out of 10. And I think Hunted was a 4 out of 10. And those were my 4 bottoms. And everything else was just 4.5 or higher.
Scott didn't watch Dreamcatcher.
Oh, I watched Dreamcatcher.
Man.
That one I put at 4.5 because at least it was filmed well. It was
I gave it a 1 out of 10. I thought it was probably one of the worst films I've ever seen. You're right.
Really?
It's got the kid who from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid actor. It has decent acting in it, and it looks like a well-made film. You're right about that, but it's such a horrible film that I couldn't even forgive it and score it for production value because I just thought like this is just atrocious. 1 out of 10.
To me, the most disappointing thing that happened this year is there were some films I watched that obviously had a budget and they just shit the bed. Death Valley to me on Shudder is a fucking example of a film that had fucking money, but it was just so piss poorly done, as opposed to some other films that may come up in our awards that were filmed on clearly a shoestring budget, like that did much better with child actors. I think you guys know which one I'm referring to. Then this film was like, that's a fucking travesty when you have the budget. And I know I was on another podcast yesterday, Slumber Party Massacre, and they were all shitting on Spiral, and Brandon would have loved the shitting on Spiral. Now I didn't hate Spiral because I'm not a big Saw fan.
Same.
I thought it was fine, but it really isn't that great of a film, you know, and it's a shame because it had, yet again, another film that had the money. It could have been much better. Right?
Yeah, it was my biggest disappointment of the year was Spiral. And I mean, I give it a 5 out of 10, but as somebody who loves and defends the first 8 films in the Saw franchise, this just felt like a hollow, uninspired, just rehash of like of what a Saw film should be, and it was just terrible.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is expect tons of Spirals on our awards.
Yeah, definitely. number one movie of the year.
Best actor, Chris Rock.
Best actor, Chris Rock as Chris Rock. As he is in every film. Well, we'll get into our awards. We'll get Scotty to start. So Scotty, I guess, how do you want to do this? Should you go, I go, and then Brandon, because he's really the big hitter?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
He is the big name here.
He's the cheese.
You guys gotta stop stroking my ego.
You are such
I'll be stroking something else later.
Oh, hey, high five.
Hey, when I went to the horror conventions and I went to in October, I was like, hey, do you guys know Brandon Orlick? They're like, oh my God, you know him? I'm like, yeah, we're kind of friends. And then Brandon was like, we're only Facebook friends. And then I looked like a big loser.
No, we're not Facebook friends. We're Facebook acquaintances.
Sorry.
And I do the same thing. Whenever I go to a horror convention, I'm like, do you guys know Brandon Orlick? I try to pull back from myself and get an outside perspective of how I'm viewed.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So, all right. So, Scotty, why don't you start us off with our first award? So, as everyone knows, with our awards, these rules are fast and loose. We're not people that are going to argue about whether someone thinks something's a horror film or not. We don't give a fuck. If you think it's a horror film, it's a horror film. We're allowed to have runner-ups for our awards. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And it's all subjective. This is all our opinions. And, perhaps we'll bring a film to the table that you didn't think about watching this year, and maybe it will, spark your fancy. At the end, we will do a top 10. We'll be fairly quick because that's not the focus of our show, but we will share our top 10. So, yeah. All right, Scotty, why don't you start us off with our first award?
All right. So our very first award for tonight will be Best Bloodbath. So this is pretty much just like one of the more violent scenes in the film, blah, blah, blah type deal. I ended up going with the third act of The Queen of Black Magic, where she was basically creating hell on earth, because holy fuck, the gore and violence and torture that was going on with these people that this witch was causing to them was intense. Like, it's probably, that's why I put it for this category, because I was trying to think, there wasn't really a lot of big bloodbath moments I could remember, but this one, I watched it early in the year, and that scene has stuck with me since then. It's hard, it's harrowing just watching what these people are going through.
You know what's funny? I didn't remember that scene until you said it, and then I thought of that whole fucking third act. I remember that they're in the room towards the end with the kids. And I was like, fuck yeah. Good call, Scotty. I completely forgot about that scene, but the moment you said it, it all came rushing back. Great choice.
Oh, thank you.
Choice. Did you have a runner-up?
Nope, not for this one. I did not.
Okay. So for me, it was Censor. And it was the final scene of Censor when she goes to the film and she ends up fucking slaughtering the entire film crew. And the actress is the only one that ends up getting away. That movie to me had some very good subtle kills in it. Particularly, there's a scene that happens early on where she confronts someone at their house. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that ending came from nowhere. I was like, this bitch is going crazy. And she did.
Yeah.
And my runner-up is Halloween Kills, only because I did feel that opening scene with the firefighters, and there was some great kills in that scene that was really good for a blood.
And that was filmed so well. I got to give that props for Halloween Kills, because that firefighter scene was filmed freaking amazingly.
That film confused me. That film confused me very much, because I wasn't sure. Maybe you guys can clear this up for me. Did Evil die tonight? Because
no.
Yeah.
But there's an open mic night that I was thinking we could go to, Brandon, that we could relive the events of 40 years ago, and we could all take turns talking about it, because no one knows.
Yeah,
absolutely. And actually, you and Scott look alike. So honestly, if you and Scott were both walking down the street, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two of you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the only award that I am giving Halloween Kills.
We do share a mother. It's your mother. It's your mother, Heather.
Yeah, you guys do. Have fun. As we know, we talk about banging my mom a lot on the show. Not me, obviously, but these two gentlemen, especially Brandon, really likes to bang my mom. He's going to be my new daddy. So anyway, that's my award. So Brandon, what's yours?
That's a good choice. I like that. For me, I went with my favorite slasher of the year. I went with The Last Matinee.
I still can't find that.
Yeah, I still not been able to watch that one.
Yeah, honestly, it's such a fantastic film, and the kills in it are just very old school. We talked about this a little bit on the show last night. We talked about the fact that this film, if you said was a lost slasher from, the mid to late 80s, early 90s, it would be very believable. It just has that feel of old-timey slasher, and it's just unapologetic in its kill. It has some really creative kills and some really nasty, brutal violence throughout. And, you know, I'm thinking of a few kills in particular, but I really don't even want to spoil them. But the whole film is fantastic, and it's from Uruguay, the film. So it's a Spanish film, but pays homage to slashers, to giallos, and it's fantastic. So definitely seek it out. The Last Matinee.
Yeah, I will have to definitely look for that one, because that was one that you and I talked about earlier in the year, a few months ago, I should say. And I just never got a chance to rent it, because that was the only way I had access to it, was renting it on Prime, and I just never.
Yeah, I rented it, but I think now it's on Showtime. So if you don't have Showtime, I think you could do like the Showtime free app through through Prime. But I know Arrow released it, and I believe also Vinegar Syndrome has a release of it. So
nice.
It's a really good film. I didn't have a runner-up, but just thinking about it, a film that I know Heather loved and Scott loved a lot more than I did. I still enjoyed it, but The Sound of Violence. It's not even a kill, because they announce in the very next scene after this happens that the person survived. But there's a scene with a girl playing a harp.
Yes.
And the strings are altered, and she's literally like in a trance, and she's slicing her fingers and her wrist. And there's one point where you see the flesh hanging off her wrist, and it is so nasty and brutal that it could have been best kill had she died, but it was some of the best gore.
Yeah, that scene was freaking tough.
Gross to watch, right? Makes you uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
So we all brought some different movies. So hopefully, if you haven't had a chance, everyone, to check some of these out, probably everyone's seen Halloween Kills and maybe Queen of Black Magics. It came out early on. And that was one of the few horror movies I think Shudder dropped that was decent, because Hunted was before that. And well, we all know how we felt about Hunted. So, all right, let's get to our next one then.
All right. So the next award is most tearjerker. This one was a bit tougher for me, because I was like, man, I can't remember too many films that really hit me that way. So I only ended up picking one. And that movie was Rose.
Good film.
Yeah, just
definitely an underwatched film this year.
Yes, it absolutely is. And it's basically about a husband who is taking care of his very sick wife, who you later, spoiler, because obviously we're going to be spoiling stuff here.
Yeah, we get to spoil shit. So yeah.
But you later find out that basically she has been infected with a virus, kind of like a zombie virus. And so he's basically doing anything he can to keep her from transforming. And it is very relationship based, and like you're just watching what the husband is struggling with, trying to save his wife the whole time. And it is very just kind of gut like a punch to the gut in a way, just watching this happen, because I just kind of put myself in his shoes, and I'm just like, fuck, that would be so hard to deal with. And
what kind of shoes were they?
Clown shoes.
Yeah.
But
he wore clown shoes the entire time, which kind of took away from the film, but you know.
Yeah, and it's also very hard to maintain an erection in clown shoes.
Very difficult.
Says you.
You know, and for people who probably have seen this one because it was on Shudder, my heart can't beat unless you tell it to. This film is very similar to that.
Yes.
So if you enjoyed that film, I strongly recommend Rose as well. It skirted in the award territory for me, Scotty. It didn't make it the full way, but it was a good fucking movie, and a lot of people, no one really talked about it. And when Scott and I say no one talked about it, we actually mean that, because we watch a lot of shit that, unless it's Mark Nato, probably no one else has seen this movie. And Brandon probably watched it.
Yeah, no, I saw it and I didn't even really talk about it at all. But I could definitely see why Scott enjoyed this film. This is a Scott movie.
Oh, it definitely is. And Heather is the one that recommended this one to me and pointed it out to me. So I she knows my taste, so I had to definitely check this one out, and I'm glad I did, because. Yeah, but definitely, it was basically my after midnight, how it affected me.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a runner-up?
I do not.
All right. So for my most tearjerker, the winner for me was Silent Night. I think that movie, came in at the end of this year. It's a Christmas themed horror movie, I guess you could say. It's a very emotional film. The acting in it is awesome. Keira Knightley shows that she has acting chops. In some movies you see her and you're like, what the fuck is this chick doing? But here she knocked it out of the park. The kids in it are great, and the story is very hard hitting. It's very emotional. It's very painful watching what all these people go through, and I think they did a really great job of pulling emotion. And the runner-up for me is The Djinn. I do enjoy children. I loved Come Play last year, even though The Djinn was not as good as Come Play. I did really feel for this kid in the twist at the end. what happens to him.
You should check out the tonic. It goes really well with the gin.
Oh man, Brandon, you don't need to encourage me to drink. You should know that.
Yeah.
So those are my two films. So Brandon, what about,
well, way to steal my thunder here. The only film that affected me, that actually made me tear up this year, and it was Silent Night. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It was absolutely an emotional roller coaster, that film. And it's one of these films where you watch it, you're hoping for a different outcome, even though you're not going to get the outcome you desire. But the performances, what a cast, just a great ensemble cast. And the young kid from Jojo Rabbit, Roman Davis, he's fantastic. And it's his mother who directed the film.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. It's his mother who directed the film, and it's just, everybody's fantastic in it. And if you haven't checked it out, this is one where some people are like, I don't feel like it's hard. But for me, the tone of the film from the onset, this sort of apocalyptic Christmas celebration film, it just had the tone of a horror film, and you knew that it was building. And even the director said that her inspiration for making this film was Love Actually meets Melancholia.
Nice.
Wow.
And honestly, it's a perfect way of describing the film.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
If you've seen those two films. So Silent Night. I didn't really have a runner-up, but there's another award coming up where we're going to talk about another film. So I think I'll just save it for then, because that would have been a runner-up. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so we'll go on to the next award, and I just gotta say, excellent choices from both of you. Because Silent Night, I should have put that as my runner-up, but we will be mentioning Silent Night plenty more times.
I'm sure it will get brought up again. Yes, absolutely.
But the next award is going to be the feel good movie. And this one, I ended up going with Chompy and the Girls.
That was fun. What a fun movie that was. Yeah.
Just because when you look at the cover of this movie, you're going, okay, this is going to be some just dumb, like, sci-fi movie. This ain't going to be anything special. Then you watch and you're going, holy shit, this movie has a lot of heart to it. And, like, really, like, just kind of, like, takes the whole addiction aspect and like people trying to save each other from addiction, and just like the reconnection of family lost, and like like the performances in it were fantastic, and like it was a really fun movie. I had some cheesy effects which just kind of added to the charm to this. But yeah, this
awesome call.
But yeah, I just had to say the the whole covering the topic of addiction in this, and like just kind of how everything plays out by the end. I feel like this is a feel-good movie because it obviously has a much happier ending than most of the films we watched this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a great choice. I didn't even think about Chompy and the Girls, but it was a fun film. It was a really fun film.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
it was a contender to make my year-end list all year, because
for sure
it was definitely a feel-good film, charming and all that. And I feel like that cover art was definitely inspired by Heather's Friday Night.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my head, you see how large it is?
The head and that mouth is just a gape. Yeah.
It's actually my life story. I'm Chompy, but only I put other things in my mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Chompy and the boys. Chompy on the boys.
Chompy on the boys.
And the men. The men. You hear that, Dave C? I'm coming for you.
Uh-oh. Watch out, Junior.
All right. So my feel-good movie was Werewolves Within. I actually really liked this movie. I thought the main character was so sweet. And Venom, I was listening to the Fresh Cuts, and Venom talked about how he's like, why can't people just be nice? I'm like, that's me. That's me. That's me in like a daily adventure. This is very much like, it's based off a video game, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And I've noticed a lot of people are coming around to it. A lot of people are watching it and finding some really great humor in it. The story is, it's horror. It's not overly horror. There could be more werewolf in it, but it's fun. It's a fun.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, because it plays out like Clue.
Yeah, it does play out like Clue. That's a really good comparison.
I love that movie.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun with that one this year, and it made me laugh quite a bit. All right, Brandon.
Yeah, no, those are good choices. Those are solid choices. Mine is also, obviously, being a feel-good movie, is a horror comedy, and it's Benny Loves You.
Yes.
I mean, just so you guys know, obviously, we're close. Heather got me Benny Loves You for my birthday. Scott got me a Benny doll for my birthday. That's how much I adore this film. And this film, to me, is like the most charming of the year. It's just a perfect film. The lead actor in this is also the writer, director, producer, editor, cinematographer, music composer.
Holy shit!
Everything.
Really?
He
Yeah, he did
literally did
everything.
everything, and that's why the film is so perfect, because his stamp is on every single aspect of this film, and it plays out
Wow.
perfectly, and it's so charming. And obviously, a film about not losing one's childhood innocence, and it's violent and bloody and gory, but it's also just so funny and so much fun.
The way I always describe this movie is it's adorably demented.
Yeah.
Got me.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Wow! It's so funny.
I love that
It's
movie
such
so
a
much.
great film, and I think I watched it first, and then I recommended
Yeah.
it to you guys. I think
Yep, I
I
think
did
so.
see that one first, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh fuck, these guys are gonna love this shit. This shit's
Oh my
hilarious."
god! It's by far the most fun film of the year for me.
It's
For
yeah,
sure.
that's right up there with me too.
Yeah, and
All right, so I'll jump into the next one. Right Where It Hurts, the best kill. So I ended up having a runner-up with this one, which I'll talk about later. But yep, this is my first runner-up. But the award will actually go to the bread slicer kill in Fear Street 94.
Fucking great kill right there. That was an
Oh.
awesome kill.
Just the effects in that and the way it was done with the character that it was done to is just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot about that one. That's a good kill. Heather can't like that kill though, because she's gluten-free.
Yeah, I just was like, bread is bad. It would kill me anyway. My kill would be me slowly dying of a stomach ache. That would be.
Oh, that's a good one, man. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, like, this is one of the ones I had to change at the last minute because it just like popped in my head out of nowhere. I'm like, oh fuck, no, that's the kill. That's the kill for me.
Yeah.
But the one I originally had for here was the walking speaker from Sound of Violence.
No fucking way. That's my kill.
Is it?
That's my award.
Now you know what it feels like to be
That's
one up.
great. Great minds think alike. So I'll let you talk about it, Scotty, and then I'll just jump in at the end and talk about it quickly.
Well, yeah, basically, like, I just love that this, she basically transforms this poor woman into like a human speaker. Granted, just kind of throw discretion to the wind here because it doesn't make any sense how.
Oh,
this
it's not
works.
logical at all. Of course
Yeah.
not. Yeah, no.
But just the way it plays out, because she walks out of the van, she has these giant like speakers embedded in her flesh, like haphazardly all over her body. I think even on her legs and her arms. And like there's just like this bassy music playing, and every time it does, it's like spraying blood everywhere as she's walking, and then eventually she just collapses.
And the people are watching and they're videoing with their cell phones.
Yeah,
like, that is exactly, if something like that happened, no one would do fuck all.
I would have been dancing.
Stare.
Yeah, but
Brandon would be dancing. I would be grinding up on Brandon. That's what I would be doing. And he'd be like, Heather, we're just friends. I'd be like, love me. Heather loves you. Anyway. Oh, wow. That's what I'd be saying later, right, Brandon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. It's so small.
Oh, wow. Let me get my microscope. Anyway, let's kill back to Sound of Violence. I agree, Scotty. Like, this scene has stuck with me since fucking February. I just thought it was so creative, so different. That movie in total to me was so creative and so different. I know not a lot of people loved it, but it was something new. And I get real turned on by horror movies that do something different. We all know. So praise be. Awesome pick. All right, Brandon, what do you got?
That whole film had a lot of good kills in it.
Yeah.
By that point, by the ending, I thought it was kind of ridiculous. It does look cool because I did rewatch it, but there are a lot of good kills in that film. There's a lot of good kills in My Best Bloodbath in the last matinee, including one where a couple's making out and they basically get skewered through the head, through the mouth, through the back of the head, which is awesome, which would be a runner-up kill. But my best kill, my favorite kill, Right Where It Hurts, was in the movie Seance.
Really?
Okay.
And
Which one?
it took place in the climax, and it has to do with basically a light bulb and a slit throat.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a absolutely brutally awesome and gory kill, and also heartfelt because of the line delivered during that. I don't want to spoil because it's sort of like a revelation as to who the killer is or killers and all that. But Seance, which also showed up on Shudder, which killed it this year.
Yeah.
But it was a really nasty throat slit, and that third act really had some really good kills. There were a couple good kills there back to back in the end.
Yeah, that was a very damn good movie. Like, I forgot a lot about it because I haven't rewatched it since I watched it earlier this year. But
it was another one. It was another one contending for a list spot. And the only reason why I kind of held back is some of the things that people really liked about it. it had a little bit of misdirection with the type of film it was presenting itself to be, and then switching it up. And I kind of was not the biggest fan of that. I kind of wish it stuck, basically more in tune with what it was. But I'm trying to be cryptic without. I'm trying
You're
not
right.
to spoil it. And you guys are like,
Yeah.
she's turned into a human beatbox.
Well,
yeah.
No, I get it. I'm like, yeah, but
that's how we roll on this show.
Yeah, we spoil shit. Here's
no,
the
you
thing,
get a
right?
slit throat followed by a beheading in the climax of the seance, and both kills are awesome and feel good kills.
Feel good kills, yeah.
They are
Absolutely.
because they had it. They get their come up, and so it's like,
true.
yeah, it's like fuck you guys.
They deserved it, right?
They
That's the thing.
absolutely did.
Seance was a big surprise for me this year. I thought it was just going to be a fucking remake of The Craft, and it was not. It was
that was
way better.
Yeah, that cover art, I put it off for so long because it screamed Craft. It screamed,
yeah, like
angst.
Hell, even on our show, like we did it like in our Out of the Dark segment, we were talking about how we thought it was just going to be like another Craft movie and blah blah blah, and boy were we wrong.
Yeah, and I like being wrong.
Me too.
Right.
So yeah, I guess we can jump on into the next category, which is someone you can get behind hero wise, and 2 can be named here. So I have chosen 2. The first one I'm going to bring up is Thomasin McKenzie as Eloise Turner from Last Night in Soho.
Yes.
For one, I think part of it is just her performance in that film. Absolutely fucking incredible.
Absolutely.
Loved her as a character, and you're just wanting her to just be happy because what she's going through, just wanting to go to this school and just just do what she wants to do to be happy. And then all of a sudden she's starting having these weird dreams that tie into the movie. But man, I fucking love her, and her performance in this was incredible. The other one is Madison Eisman as Rain Burrows in Fear of Rain. Just because this one, I just wanted everything to go right for this poor girl. For one, this movie covers schizophrenia in one of the most realistic ways I have ever seen.
And respectful.
And very respectful. Yeah. And just what she's going through, and then you're obviously with schizophrenia, you see things that are not there sometimes, and a lot of what's going on in this film, you're just please God, don't let this be a figment of her imagination. Please let this be real, and you just feel for her this whole freaking movie. So yeah, I had to give it to her. Once again, Madison Eisman just freaking did an amazing job with this character, and I loved her in this movie.
Nice.
Well, I'll slide into this because she was one of my picks as well.
Nice.
I think that this movie is mental health done right. I think it's one of the few fucking movies that have presented schizophrenia as how it truly is, that she was more likely to be a victim of a crime than she was to commit a crime.
Yes.
And finally, we have the truth coming out there to what people with severe mental health, illnesses deal with on a regular basis. When you get to the conclusion of this film, you just feel for her so much. You're just fuck yeah, girl. And it's emotional, and her performance was out of this world good. The only other performance I felt that way about this year was Rebecca Hall from The Night House.
I had a feeling.
In her role as Beth. Some fucking amazing one-liners she had, especially when she confronts her, who she thinks is her husband's mistress, is just fucking she is a great fucking actress. Oh my God. I've gone back and watched older films of her just to enjoy her as an actress. So if you haven't seen these 2 films yet this year, Fear of Rain and The Night House, I strongly recommend checking them out, if anything else, for these 2 protagonists. And Brandon, who do you have?
Wow, I just gotta say that was very important. The way you worded that you hit the nail on the head, that she was more likely to be a victim of a crime than a perpetrator. Yes. And you just hit the nail on the head with what's the problem with a lot of mental illness films,
right?
It's always somebody turning crazy, and
always.
I did that. I kind of voiced my opinion about that last year with The Lodge.
Oh, fucking Lodge.
And it was just you don't miss your pills for a week and all of a sudden turn into a fucking schizophrenic psycho killer.
Exactly. That was the issue we
And
had.
yet again, schizophrenic people are more likely to hurt themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Than they are to hurt other people. And that's what pisses me off with The Lodge and other ones. So thank God Fear of Rain got it right for once.
Yeah.
Those are good picks. I'm going to spoil because we don't have a category on here, but on EH we give out Best Actress, and Thomasin McKenzie won my Best Actress because she's just an absolute delight in that film, and she stole the film. And Anya Taylor-Joy is fantastic, and she's great in it. But Thomasin McKenzie made that film from opening scene.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. Rebecca Hall, also fantastic. My two choices are actually male choices. My Best Actor, who won last night, was Dave Davis, who played Yakov in The Vigil.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, and
excellent protagonist.
Yeah, excellent protagonist, dealing with not only his own grief and coming to terms with his demons, but also as the Shomer sitting vigil for Mr. Litvak, fighting for his soul as well. And it's a very, very heart-wrenching film, and very personal film, and really well done. And his performance was fantastic. And also, going back to Silent Night, Roman Davis as Art. I mean,
nice.
Just the idea, like, I had a lot of issues the first time I watched this film with kind of justifying the way this film ends. And then, you know, I've seen interviews and I've gotten the answers I'm looking for. And it's just as simple as the fact that Art is rewarded because he's basically the only one who questions everything that's going on, who wants to live, who wants to fight. And his reward is he gets to live. So it doesn't have to 100% make sense. It doesn't have to be, you know, everything that's taking place was a lie. I don't think that's what they were going for. I think they were just trying to give hope for those who have hope and are willing to fight for the future of our planet. And he does a fantastic job in it. So
yeah, amazing job.
Yeah. So awesome. Art and Yakov from The Vigil, those were
great choices. Yeah,
both those were excellent. I didn't even think about that for The Vigil, but that's a great one.
Yeah.
So we'll do the exact opposite now. Someone who you can hate or fear. Two can be named here as well. And right off the bat, like as soon as I read the category to myself, I'm like, all right, I know one character instantly. And that is Pat Healy as Robert, and We Need to Do Something.
That was one of mine.
Because he is such a piece of shit husband. And with the stress of the situation of we need to do something in this movie, like the situation they're put in just amplifies his just his personality to like the extreme. He's over the top, but at the same time he is mean, he is violent, he is a piece of shit to his own kids. He deserves everything that happens to him in this film.
When he tries to push his son's head through the door.
My god, that was so mean.
Abusive.
It really is. But he was terrific in that.
His really portrayal though is amazing. You hated him, and that was the point, right?
Yeah.
He's a good actor. He's an underrated actor, I think.
Absolutely.
And then my second one, this one I kind of took a second to go through it. I'm going, oh yeah, I fucking hate this character. And that is Jillian Wallace playing Jillian from I Blame Society. The main character.
Yeah.
Because you just hate her the whole movie. Like,
good call, Scotty.
Because at first you're like, oh, she's kind of like this adorable nerd. And then as it continues on, you're going, no, she is awful. She is an awful person the whole movie.
No, she's a psychopath, right?
Yeah. So these are my two most hated characters in film, like for this year. And it's hard for me to top those, like when I was looking through my list.
That's awesome. So we had one that was the same, and then I had 4 for the price of one. And it's the Sisters from Ankle Biters. I thought they were the biggest little bitches I have ever seen. Oh my god, these kids were fucking psychopaths, and I wish what happens to them happens. Like, I hated these little girls, and I love children. Like, I love them. I actually really like kids, and these 4 little girls were horrible brats, and the manipulative, cruel things that they do is just nuts, especially the one kind of like ringleader. There's one that's kind of like the boss. But yeah, they, yet again, a low budget Canadian film, like real low budget that came out this
very low budget.
Used its budget well when needed for practical effects, like we always talk about, right, Scotty?
Yep.
Use your money where it counts. And the acting was decent. It was decent. Like, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, anyone out there's going to get an Academy Award or anything like that. But like, it was decent. And these 4 little girls fucking nailed it as great villains. So
yes, they did.
I don't know if they'll do anything else because, it might just be a one-trick pony kind of thing, except for maybe the ringleader one. But it was a fun film. All right, Brandon.
Good choices. I went a little bit outside the box here, but getting back to the Night House, I went with the character of Nothing.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to
Yes.
highlight it because it's obviously a character that every single person not only fears and has thought about in their life, but the way it's presented in this film is very haunting and very evil and very manipulative, and it's just super well done. And I was having a tough time thinking of another person, and then I thought of the Night House, and I'm like, this entity, the Nothing, is just absolutely terrifying and just pure evil, and to do what it was doing to Rebecca Hall's character, given the circumstances of what she was going through. It's just it was rough. So and that film is just filmed so well, and we talked about it, the negative space with the image of Nothing. It's so well shot. Like some of the best cinematography I saw. And that third act where they're highlighting kills, and she's seeing all these different kills, and she's being dragged through a house, and she's seeing, oh my God, really well done, creative stuff. And the other one is the character of Mandrake from Coming Home in the Dark.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, we have two villains here in the film, in Mandrake and Tubbs. But Mandrake is the ringleader here, and he's so violent and unapologetic. I mean, you do feel sympathy for this character, given the revelations throughout this story. It's really a lose-lose situation when you're watching this film. It's very tough to sit through. There's no levity in it whatsoever, but man, he is just brutal and unapologetic, and he kills anyone and everyone. He doesn't care. There's no rules here. Like, nobody is safe in this film.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, he pretty much makes you hate him right from the fucking beginning with what he does. Like, right there, it's just like, oh, you are an awful person.
Yeah, first 10 minutes of this film, you get some kills, and you're like, okay, this is not going to be a comedic good time. You're in for a tough view.
Yeah,
a very dark film.
A great film, but one that's gonna challenge you.
Absolutely.
Wow,
no, I couldn't agree more. Great choices.
Yeah, that I have to admit, like, thinking of these awards, Coming Home Alone in the Dark is one of those films I just completely slipped my mind about. But yeah, those characters right there, like, fuck, that would have been on my list as well.
Well, I'm glad. I'm actually glad we're all like highlighting different movies, because I was afraid, like, as I'm putting it down, I'm like, I'm hoping we're not all gonna put the same thing down, because I'm like, some of them I saw and I'm like, oh, it's got to be this one. But I'm glad. I'm actually really thrilled with some of these picks I'm hearing.
Well, and the ones that we are mentioning, I think that says to everybody, you should probably check it out. If 2 out of 3 of us or all 3 of us have something as like, especially when we get to our top 10s, like, it's probably, not that I know,
but even a lot of these films that probably didn't make our top 10 lists are still solid films. It is a very solid year. So
absolutely, and they're worth watching for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so the next award is Punch in the Gut. All right, so this is where I'm bringing in a movie that was brought up earlier, and that is Silent Night and the suicide scene. Because fuck, did this movie just, like, as soon as this moment happened in this film, I am just like, oh, I just felt awful. Because earlier in the film, you're like, okay, it's kind of like an end of the world thing. All friends are just getting together, having a good time. You're like, that kind of gives you a bit of a feel good moment, like, for everything until, this scene happens. And then you're just going, oh, this got really fucking dark. And yeah, this was a runner up for my tearjerker moment with this. Cause I was like shedding a tear for this. I'm like, man, this is just so freaking tough to watch. And this is one of the few films I rewatched like this year, and it, like, that punch in the gut feeling still fucking happened for me again, rewatching, even though it was coming up. It was just, well done fucking scene, well done movie just in general. But yep, I had no runner up on this one, but that is the scene stealer for me, because I was just like, as soon as I seen it instantly, I'm like, yep, that's that movie.
Awesome. Well, for me, it was thanks to Brandon Orlick, Apartment 113.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Apartment 413. Sorry, 14. 413.
3 floors up from 113.
So yeah, that's the sequel.
4 floors up. Yeah,
that's the sequel that's coming. 113. But fuck this movie, for a low budget film. The ending of this movie really, really affected me.
Yeah,
for so many reasons. And yet again, another movie that portrays mental health well. Again, thank you, fucking Hollywood, for portraying mental illness in a way that actually makes sense and is reality. And you feel so sorry for this main character when you get to that end of that film. Yet again, low budget done right, showing that you can build suspense and real life horror without all the bells and whistles. Like you can do stuff in a basic setting that can make people upset, afraid, sad, whatever. And this movie capitalizes on it. It's on Tubi, I believe, so it's a free watch.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy low budget, if you enjoy solid acting, it is a little bit of a slower burn, but I totally recommend it. So,
Yeah, very good freaking movie.
yeah,
Good call. Yeah, another one I found on Tubi. I think it's on Prime now as well. But Tubi, man, Tubi had some really big surprises this year as well.
Yes, they did, and
especially in the found footage area, some really good found footage stuff as well.
Yeah.
Most of them I would not have known about unless you had told us about them, Brandon. So yeah,
I mean, I love to deep dive in terms of searching. I spend more time sometimes searching movies out on Tubi on Amazon than I do actually watching them. I can get lost, just going down a rabbit hole looking at them. But good call on that, Heather. And my punch in the gut, I mean, I just mentioned him as one of my villains who I hate. Coming Home in the Dark. I mean, we talk about it just basically from opening scene, you're just punched in the gut, and it just does not let up throughout. And even the last image of the film, it's heartbreaking, and you just feel bad for everyone.
It's an emotional film. I think you should probably say if you go into this film, be prepared for a very heavy film. One of the heaviest films I watched this year, by far.
Yeah,
right?
Agreed.
Oh, absolutely. Agreed. Yeah, it is. It's one of those where I think it's because I think that's why I did not rewatch it, is because it was
so fucking heavy.
This is one of those where I don't want to rewatch it because
you don't walk out being like, what a feel good film.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not a feel good film, and it really makes you think, because the whole question this film is posing is somebody who turns a blind eye to evil acts going on as evil as somebody who performs evil acts.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, you don't know who to root for, or who the bad guy or who the good guy is here. It's tragic from start to finish. Unfortunately, everybody's a victim and a perp, unfortunately, in this film.
Absolutely.
That's a good way to find it. Yeah.
All right, so we'll go to the next one. This is definitely a Scott category. That is all the feelings, relationships in film. I have a runner up on this one, of course, but for this one, I went with Jacob's Wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because not just because this is like kind of a different, like most of the time when it's a relationship and horror film for me, I focus on like the whole if they may break up, like, or they're struggling like to survive. Like this one, the movie starts off with Barbara Crampton and Larry Fessenden's characters already kind of in that like part of their relationship where like they're just not happy. And then as Barbara Crampton gets turned into a vampire and the sexiness kind of comes back out of her, like, they kind of rekindle things a bit. And one thing I have to give Mr. Venom a shout out for this, because he mentioned it in the Fresh Cuts episode. He had said that, this is one of those films where the husband actually believes what is happening with the wife for once in a freaking movie, instead of going, "Oh, I don't believe you. You're just crazy." Like when Larry Fessenden's character finds out what's going on, he's there and he is supporting his wife. And like, yeah, obviously there's still a lot of issues there, but like by the end of the film, they're like, their relationship has become stronger because of what they went through. Mm-hmm. And I really do love their performances, because their performances in this are freaking incredible. And it's such a fun film, and just in general. But yeah, like I just love how the relationship went from just kind of falling apart to just being like strong and the bond being rebuilt again. And I love that. My runner up, I brought it up earlier, but that's Rose, just for the opposite way of things happening in that film.
Absolutely. You know what's funny? I could have swore you and I were going to pick the same film, and we didn't.
Really?
So mine is My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To. And it was the relationship between the brother and the sister, and then the sub-relationship with the younger brother. Yeah. I won't go into too much detail on this one. It is on Shudder. I will say, if you enjoy relationship films, if you dug things like After Midnight and other films like that, you should definitely watch My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To. It is a slower burn, but it is definitely a good family relationship. Or maybe you like Dark and the Wicked and you like the relationship between the brother and the sister in that one as well. You might really enjoy this one too. And then my runner up to that is The Stylist. Nice. I felt so bad for the main protagonist, antagonist in the film. And just the relationship she has, how awkward she is, how lonely she is, how she's unable to connect. And I actually talked to my hairstylist about this movie and I told her about it. And I said, she's like, you know what, I'm going to watch that. I'm like, I think it really does portray how, for women anyway, when we go, if you identify as female and you go and get your hair cut, you end up like having these gossipy sessions. Like it always happens. You're always like, oh, you know, how's this and that? And you end up like, and there's some women, I've been in the chair and they're sharing shit. Like it's crazy, you know? So it kind of reflects that a little bit of real life. And we all know I have a big thing for real life reflecting horror and vice versa. So those were my 2 films. All right, Brandon.
Excellent choices.
Thanks.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I didn't have 2. I only had 1. I didn't cheat this time.
Oh, it's okay.
I went with another Shudder film, a French werewolf film called Teddy.
Oh, nice.
Great film. Great
film. You know, Teddy is an underdog in this film, and one of the showcases of this film is his relationship with his girlfriend, who he's madly in love with, and he's a high school dropout, you know, a lower class, financially unstable guy, but he has this dream of just this beautiful future with her, of making a family and making a great life with her. That, you know, the way things unfold, it's very heartbreaking and very tragic, and you're rooting for this character. He's a great underdog, and I just felt like that relationship, I was rooting for it. And then by the time it reaches its climax in the 3rd act, I was very happy with where the film went. It was surprisingly well done. It felt very Napoleon Dynamite meets a werewolf film early on, but then in the final act, it turns into like almost like Carrie in its climax.
Yes, it does actually.
with its bloodbath, but it's really well done, and it has a post-credit scene, which is what I could only describe as what's basically a dreamlike sequence of what could have been, and it really tugs at the heartstrings because you already know how the film ends, and obviously this last post-credit scene just isn't possible. So it's sort of almost like a dream sequence of if it had ended the way you wanted it to.
That's a good point.
I did not see the post-credit scene. Shit. Okay.
Scotty. Guess you better go back.
I might have to, because that movie is art. I do love that movie. It's freaking great. And another one Brandon recommended to us.
Teddy.
So the next category is didn't see that coming. Twist ending. I have one for this award. It's not technically twist ending, but twist in a film. And I went with Fear of Rain because I did not see this coming. I know Heather, I think, did, but when you find out Rain's mother is not actually there and just part of her imagination this whole entire time, and the realization when she realizes that is just heartbreaking, especially when her father realizes that she has been talking to her mother that is not there as well. Like, and you just see the look and devastation on both of their faces that, you know, like the schizophrenia has gotten that bad to where she has been thinking her mother was there the whole fucking time. And that I did not see it coming. And when that happened, I'm just like, what the fuck? I was completely blindsided by it. And I mean, Heather's better at picking up on this stuff than I am.
I didn't see it either. When I was like, oh fuck, really? No way.
Because she called it while she was watching it too. She's like, "Mother's not real." I'm like, "Damn it!
Yeah,
how did you do that?"
Sometimes I get it, but sometimes I don't. And an example of 2 times that I didn't get it was apartment 413, which I didn't fucking see that coming.
No,
man. So I won't give it away because just what you think is real is not. And it wasn't the best movie. This other, my runner up, but I was surprised was Red Dot. I honestly didn't see the twist in that coming. I think Brandon did. I think you did, Brandon, right?
You know what? I'm thinking now about it. I don't think I did, because where that went, I was like, wow, I did not. Yeah. I didn't expect the twist to go where it did, and then I don't think I expected it to end the way it did.
Yeah, like I remember being like, huh.
Yeah, and that twist actually, because I remember because you and I were watching it together, Heather, and we were just like,
we did watch it together. Yeah,
we're like, this movie is dumb. Like they're making so many dumb choices, and then this twist happened. And we're going, all right, movie, you got our attention. Like, it came and like it changed.
Did you
film.
both really go, all right, movie, you have my attention?
Yeah, I think we did that. Yeah, like we're kind of losers, so we probably totally did that for sure. But yeah, so those were anyway. And so Brandon, what was yours?
Mine again, not necessarily a twist. And I know I just criticized Seance for sort of presenting as one film and then turning into another. And this film does the same thing, but for some reason, I didn't mind it in this one. It kind of made for like, whoa, I didn't expect this to go there. I didn't expect the reveal within the story. And I certainly didn't expect the 3rd act to turn into the type of film it did. And it's a Thai film called The Maid.
Fuck yeah, what a great movie too.
Holy fuck.
Excellent film.
Yeah, it basically
Amazing.
starts off like a ghost story, and it's an interesting enough ghost story. But by that third act, it just turns into a straight up slasher that's brutal and unrelentless. And I'm just like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Right? Awesome.
And I didn't
awesome.
even see the twist within the story with how certain characters are connected. So I did not see that as well, even though it should have kind of been there. Like thinking about it now, it should have kind of been right in front of you, right in your face. But I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't get it.
I didn't see it
freaking
either.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Great film though. Excellent film.
Yeah, that one completely caught me off guard. All right, so yeah, we'll move on to the next one, which is surprising low budget film of the year. For me, I have championed this since I watched it like a few months back and talked both you guys into watching it, and that is Cherry Pickers, aka Ankle Biters. This movie, super low budget, but my God,
Like was filmed on a Canadian $20 bill. How fucking
Yeah.
low budget that was. Honestly.
Bird money.
Bird money. They had
Bird
only
money.
fucking bird money. They think they were actually like, we're in Tobermory. For anyone who lives in fucking Ontario, you know where Tobermory was. And when they were like, we're in Tobermory, I'm like, no one admits to being in Tobermory. This film must be low budget.
Like, this is probably the best low budget film I've seen this year. Like, I fucking love this movie because you guys know, because I was just talking about it over and over again, going, oh my God, this movie's amazing. I was
You
completely
praised
caught
it.
off. Yeah, I was completely caught off guard because like Taylor portrays it to be like a lot more comedic than it actually is.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, when it had like there is some good comedy in this, but then like when some of the stuff happens in this, you're going, oh, this got really fucking dark. And yeah, like you said, the acting isn't the greatest, like, but
It's not
at
bad,
the same time, I'll say for the budget they had, and for a lot of the characters that are probably first time actors, especially the little girls, that's impressive. And like, yeah, like amazing movie. Loved it.
Absolutely. I think that's a great pick, Scotty. I won't go too much into the one that I chose because we've already talked about it. But for me, it will be We Have to Do Something. I think to be filmed
Nice.
on a soundstage and to only use one room and to have to, it was like a stage production. And when I see something that could be a quality of a stage production, which is to make you be afraid of something you can't physically see, that's talent. And these actors were able to pull that off. So that was my surprisingly low budget.
Michigan-based film.
Michigan-based. And Brandon, what about you?
Is that why they all had big foreheads?
It is.
That's why. That's why. I actually, my goal is to be in the sequel because of my big head. I'm really hoping I can get in there.
You and I will both be in it.
You're going
Right.
to be in one of my picks. I had 4 picks for this because honestly, I can't even find anything about budgets anymore. It used to be very easy to find with you know, looking up the film budget. I feel like I can't find anything. But one of the films I picked was Chompy and the Girls. It just
Nice. Yep.
And that's obviously Heather's going to be in the sequel as the new Chompy.
Yeah, new Chompy. Sucky and the Guys is what it's going to be called,
Sucky and the
actually.
Oh God. Horror in the High Desert. Another
Excellent.
To be found footage. I love found footage. If you love found footage, you got to check out Horror in the High Desert. Don't know what the budget was, but I mean, it's found footage. They're always low budget. Yep. Making Monsters, a surprising film that really got to me. Another one with, you know, following YouTubers, you know, looking to gain views and stuff. Go say it like a haunted getaway. It was really well done.
I have not seen that one.
And if I had to choose just one, it would be Super Hot. I just
Super Hot.
I absolutely love this film. The lead female in this, I can't remember her name, but she's just, I love this girl. I absolutely love her. Just the way she delivers her lines, the way she just acts in this film, it's great, and it's super low budget. And again, this felt like she felt like a female Napoleon Dynamite. I know I've been referencing that, but this is another one that had that feel. And I rewatched it, and just a charming low budget, fun little film that I'll definitely revisit again.
Again, low budget done right. All 4 of those films, low budget done right.
Yeah,
and
like we were talking earlier this year, this has been the year of comedy, horror, and low budget films and
indie films, man.
Yeah,
right.
Amazing
For sure.
All right, so the next one, Worth the High Budget. For this one, I ended up having 2. The award will go to Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright, just like pretty much anything this man touches is always just well done, and his style of editing is just fucking perfect, especially in this film. Like the dance number when it's going back between Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy, and just the editing and the way it is done with the beat to the music, fucking beautiful. this film is just like gorgeous and just so well done. Fucking love the hell out of it. So yeah, that is my award. My runner-up was going to be Silent Night, like another one, high budget, just done right. Because I'd probably say that was probably more medium budget, but still.
Yeah.
Did you actually find the numbers, like how much it costs for like Last Night in Soho? Because that's a great choice.
No, I was good. I can look it up to see if I can find something.
No,
I mean,
that's
you could
okay.
just assume it's expensive.
Yeah, Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright usually is a name director, so he's gonna get whatever budget.
Good amount of money, whatever he wants, right? Last Night in Soho definitely.
Its budget was $43 million.
Okay, that's a big budget. My pick was like less than half that, but I still thought it was big budget.
I said the same thing as Scott, Last Night in Soho. I don't know if there's anything else to add to that. The movie I was looking least forward to that I will give these two gentlemen credit. We're like, oh, it's going to be good. I'm like, it's going to be so artsy. It's just going to be boring. Oh my God. And like, I must have harassed Brandon every day for a month. Have you watched Last Night in Soho yet?
I told you I was saving it as my last watch. It actually didn't turn out to be. No, it did turn out to be my last watch. I'm sorry, because I did watch another one, but I think I watched it like the day before. But I saved it as my last one, and people were. I mean, it was hyped, but I'm not one who falls for that. If somebody if it's overwhelmingly hated or overwhelmingly loved, I still go in with my own expectations, and it's a great pick, and it probably should be my pick. I went with another pick just because I love the director, and I think the budget was just about $20 million, and I went with M. Night's Old.
Oh, yeah, nice.
That was a well done film.
It was a really well done film. I'm a big advocate of his films. I support and enjoy pretty much everything he does within the horror genre. Some of those sci-fi films, yeah, maybe a little poo-poo, but the horror stuff he does is always creative, and I got to give him credit, even if I don't love some of his stuff as much as his earlier work. I feel like everything he's put out is solid, and Old was a surprisingly very good film, and
very emotional. It wasn't my favorite, but it was well done. I definitely will give a lot of credit for how it was done.
And I like the cast, and it had I mean, she only had a small part in it, but Thomasin McKenzie was in that as well for a little bit.
That's right, she was. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right, so these next couple of categories are going to be like the best on streaming services. The first one up is best Shudder film, and I mean, what can be said? One of my just films that I was hyped to see all the way up until it finally released, and it did not disappoint, and that is Not My Hunky Boys, Psycho Gorman. Fucking love this movie so much. It hit everything that I wanted it to do. It was just incredible and hilarious, and just everything I was hoping it would be, and it fucking nailed it. Or do I?
Yeah, it's definitely your go-to this year. For me, it's a movie that Brandon didn't like, but I don't care. I don't care what you think, Brandon. It's Slack. I enjoyed this film like hell on Shudder, and I will always enjoy this film on Shudder. It makes fun of fucking Roots. Fuck you, Roots, Canada. And I love the fact of killer genes coming to life and fucking people up. And I love it. I love this film, and it was my favorite that came out on Shudder this year.
I love that. Heather loves the idea of killer genes.
I love it. I love the idea.
Not a sentence I thought I'd ever hear in my life. The idea of killer genes.
Well, the fact that when it's the fact of killer genes, you're going, okay, this movie's gonna be so fucking dumb, and it was way better than I had ever.
And there was so much excellent, and yet again, a way to include political and social commentary in a subtle way.
Yeah,
like, you know what I really liked about this film is they were like, oh yeah, if you're Canadian and you know enough shit, this is about Roots, but we're not going to tell you it's about Roots, right? And I really, really dug that. I really dug that they did the influencer thing and talked about the body image issues and all that other shit, and how you really don't know if the product that you're getting is fucking ethically sourced or not. And I just loved how they called it out. To me, that's why this movie for me is my favorite from Shudder. Obviously, this is a very like personal choice, right? There was some shit on Shudder this year, right?
Yeah,
it got talked about a lot last night, and I got to be honest. Like, listen, when I started watching it, I was, and that's why you think I didn't love it as much as you, but you probably thought I hated it because I was probably texting you, telling you how much I think this movie is garbage.
Yes, you did.
But it did pick up, and I actually wound up giving it a pretty favorable review. I think I gave it like a 6.5. Whereas when I started it, I was like, this is a 0 out of 10. This is awful. But it did dive into some deep social political issues. So I don't hate it as much as people think. The same way with Cycle Gorman, which I gave a 7 out of 10. But people seem to be very divisive on these films, whereas I'm more middle of the road with them. My favorite Shudder film of the year was Vicious Fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great fucking film
fun
too.
movie.
Also Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Right?
all three of them were Canadian.
Filmed in Hamilton, Ontario. So
yeah. What a great film about it. You know, a young horror magazine writer who stumbles into a support group for serial killers, and it's funny. It's hilarious. It's violent. It's just fantastic. And it has one of my favorite comedic moments where he's locked up behind bars, and he's basically pointing out one of the killers. He's like, "That's not a cop. That's a killer. Look at his mustache. It's a fake mustache." And the cop goes nuts. He's like, "You don't talk about a man's mustache. You don't talk about him." And it's just, I don't know. It was like the Lucky Bat line in Psycho Gorman. And I mentioned that last night because that was Christian's like favorite line was, "My lucky bat." That was for me. So it was great. You don't talk about a man's mustache, and just a fun film. So if people haven't seen it, and Shudder killed it this year. I mean, all the streaming services were strong, but Shudder, the beginning of the year, I was like, what are they doing? They were unloading their turds early, and then they just
then it was just bomb after bomb after bomb.
Yeah, fucking amazing. Get Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, everyone, it's worth the fucking investment. Or steal off someone else. I don't know. Do whatever you got to do. All right, Scotty.
All right. So next up is Best Netflix Film. And for this one, I went with All My Friends Are Dead.
Me too!
Yeah! This movie was just so much fun and hilarious. It reminded me of like American Pie meets Final Destination in a way.
Yeah, man.
It's just
so much fucking fun. And I think it's Polish, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Polish,
I think Polish or
it was a Polish. Yeah,
no, it's Polish.
Okay,
Polish. It was a Polish film. Yeah.
And I mean, bravo for Netflix for having a movie and actually showing a golden shower scene. I did not expect them to actually have a film that did that.
You know what was more shocking than the golden shower scene? The fact that I was really aroused by the golden shower
scene. You see, we're not shocked by that.
I'm not shocked.
We know what you're into. We've seen your porn history.
Honestly, All My Friends Is Dead. All My Friends Are Dead. I'm a big advocate again for that film as well. It was my number 11 film of the year. We're going to be doing top 10s at the end, but it was my number 11 for the year. And a fantastic film. And I'm so glad you guys are talking about it, because that to me is a horror comedy. It's just great.
Yes, it was just so much fun.
And I think it could even have best kill, just that group kill at the end.
Oh man, that's great.
And especially when the electricity kicks in and they all look like they're dancing and playing. Yeah, the guitar. I mean, and the kid playing the piano, Philip playing the piano. I'm like, this is fucking gold. I loved it.
It is. It's so awesome. And yet again, Netflix with international films again.
Yeah. Yes.
There's local horror films like the fucking North American ones, but like when they pick up international shit, generally speaking, it tends to be really good.
Well, it's funny because when we get to my Netflix film, it's also an international film. So.
See, well, why don't we say I had the same one as Scott? So you go ahead. What's your international?
Mine is a Norwegian Swedish mashup, and it's called The Trip.
Yes, fucking awesome film too.
Yeah,
awesome.
Love that movie.
Yes.
Also a blend of action, comedy, horror, and told from 3 points of view about a husband and wife who go away to their cabin, both with separate plans of offing each other. Yeah. And it just turns into chaos when not only do their plans get foiled trying to kill each other, but there are 3 escaped murderers and rapists and Nazis in their cabin hiding out. And man, that film is so brutal and violent throughout that I don't know how these 2 characters survive by the end. I just feel like they had so much internal bleeding that they should have died at the end. But
totally.
It's just so much fun and so hilarious. And another great line, and there's one scene where the father shows back up at the cabin and he attacks the main villain and he bites his nose off, and the villain goes, "Ah, my nose," and the father goes, "What nose?" It was fantastic.
Pretty funny. It's a great fucking film. Yet again, Netflix for international films. People, if you ain't watching international films on Netflix, you're missing out. Just skip over like fucking Intrusion and some other shit that came out.
And I'll say this I feel this way for all foreign films, but especially for all my friends, because I threw it on for the third time the other night while I was actually making these lists for year-end shows, and I put it on with the English dub just because I wasn't looking up watching the TV. You need the subtitles for that film.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
You need the
Absolutely.
subtitles. Yeah.
You know, subtitles are always the way to go if
Yeah.
you're able to, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, great choices because yeah, The Trip was another one that I was thinking. It was a
Awesome.
toss up between All My Friends Are Deader than this one. Best on demand film. This was really tough for me because I was having a hard time figuring out like what exactly is like right now available to rent. This one may be questionable. I'm not sure because I think it has to be rented, but I chose Silent Night.
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
Because yeah, I just love this movie and like just kind of going through it. Like I said, I had a hard time with this one, so I just went with Silent Night.
No, it's a good choice. The only way you could stream it is if you do the AMC Plus free trial, I think.
Okay.
But other than that, you have to stream it.
Okay, so yep, then that's okay.
Yeah,
I feel vindicated then.
VOD, I mean.
So one that I found for VOD that wasn't available in theaters that I actually thought was a lot of fun because I've always thought, what would happen if you went to Chuck E. Cheese and shit came alive? And that is Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage. I thought that movie was hilarious.
This movie
I
was so much
honestly
fun.
thought it was really funny. And Nicolas Cage playing fucking pinball, like every I don't know, 2 hours he would have his break where he would have a drink. What was it, a cola or something?
Yeah, like a grape soda.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my God.
Not saying a single line the whole fucking film. Like the most reserved Nicolas Cage I've ever seen.
And he's just fucking up these larger than lives fucking figures that have come to life. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of that banana
Splits.
Banana Splits.
But honestly, I had a great time with it.
Yeah, I thought this one was more fun than Banana Splits.
Yeah, it's good time. So that was my on demand. What about you, Brandon?
Nice.
Mine was one that I wanted to see, never seemed to become free anywhere, and I rented it. And it's the only film that I watched and then the next day watched again. I always rewatch films. I'm a big rewatcher of films, but I never usually do back to back in 2 days. But this one had an effect on me, and I need to go back and visit. And I've since bought it on demand and watch it for a third time, and I will probably pick up a Blu-ray copy at some point. And it's Broadcast Signal Intrusion.
Nice.
Yeah, that's another good film.
Yeah,
Scotty feels even more vindicated than ever.
No, it's a terrific film. It takes place in the late 90s about a video archivist who stumbles upon a series of broadcast signal intrusions that are really creepy and haunting, involving these like robotic rubber mask mannequin looking creatures, and they coalesce with the disappearance of 3 women, one of them being his wife, and just basically our main character going down this rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, trying to connect the dots and figure out what's going on. And it's just really well done. It has a real noir feel to it with its jazzy score and terrific performances from the lead actor and supporting actress in it. And yeah, Broadcast Signal Intrusion. I don't know if a lot of people have seen it, but I was really happy for Scott to recommend it and for me to enjoy it as much as I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is such a great movie. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it got to me right away. I was just like, yeah, this is my type of film.
Yeah, very, very haunting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can jump on the next one. That is the best Amazon Prime film. So
this one was the hardest. This one was my hardest.
So these were free with Prime, just so to be clear to everybody. These are the ones that were included if you have a Prime membership.
Yeah.
I ended up going with another really low budget film that I just loved, but thanks to Brandon Orlick's suggestion, and that is Digging to Death.
Oh, nice.
Fucking great film.
Yeah, this movie was just fantastic. I mean, and gives you that whole like what would you do scenario. Like if you decided like you ended up digging a hole in the backyard and found like millions of dollars, but there was also a dead body with it. And what would you do? Would you take the money or would you call the authorities or what? And you obviously see. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm calling.
I don't want that guy haunting me.
I was gonna say because that's what happens. He gets haunted after that.
Yep.
And like what he goes through that whole film, like the effects were very low budget, not look the best, but man, the performances I thought were great all around, and just a very fun. What would you do type scenario with a very fun film. I love this movie.
Great pick,
good call,
Scotty.
man. Nice.
Great pick. I had 2. The first one was Untitled Horror Movie.
Nice.
Oh, good call. Good call.
And that's just like that movie is my sense of humor. Okay, it's so ridiculous. Like it's this kind of like these stars. They're not super big stars. Some of them have had some pretty minor roles in other things, and they're just such divas. And it's a found footage film, and it's a lot of fun. And then a runner-up for me that I really enjoyed was Death Ranch. I actually really enjoyed that film earlier this year. I liked that one quite a bit. It's about three African Americans who are on the run, and they run into Nazis, and they take care of business.
that was a surprisingly good film as well. Good call.
Yeah, so those were my two. What about you? I think I know what Brandon's going to say, but we'll see.
Well, I kind of cheated here because I actually watched this film on Tubi, but a lot of times when you find a film on Tubi, it's streaming on Prime at the same time, and this one happens to be, and I didn't know if it was going to get brought up, but Heather's already brought it up, and it was Apartment 413.
Nice.
Yep.
And I just felt like this film needed to be showcased because it's low budget, done well, and Bree Grant, and I don't know the lead actor's name in this, do a terrific job, and it's a gut punch film. That ending, you just don't see it coming. I'm not going to spoil this one because this is one you just got to go into.
Yeah,
and
you got to
enjoy the ride.
Yeah,
but that was a good one. I'm not sure if this one was also on Prime or not. This one was actually on Tubi, and I just feel like I got to mention it because otherwise I'll forget about it. But Sorry I Killed You.
Oh yeah,
that's on Prime as well.
Is that on Prime? Because that was just like, it had such horrible reviews, but I watched it anyway, and it was
funny.
Pretty funny, and pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
Had the kid from Mean Girls in it.
Again,
plays like a love interest.
It's low budget, but it's funny.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, great choices, everybody. So yeah, next one up is the best Hulu film. So with these, like, they don't have to be like Hulu originals or anything like that. It was just kind of like what is available on Hulu is how I was going about it.
Yeah.
And We Need to Do Something was on Hulu. So of course I had to pick that one because I just fucking love this movie. We've talked about it a bunch already, so I won't really get too much into it. But yeah, it's on Hulu, people. Watch it.
Yeah. No, it's a very good film. And Heather said something interesting that is perfect description for this film, is that this film would make an absolute brilliant horror stage play.
Yes.
It really would. You're absolutely right about it, because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's a theatrical, traumatic stage play.
And you need good actors, and they have good actors in this.
They did.
That's what, theatrical actors are better actors because they can make you believe without all the bells and whistles of special effects. And so I'm glad you chose that one. Mine is Censor.
Nice.
We'll probably talk about it again, but this is a British film about censorship in, I believe it's the 80s, when we were doing the video nasties, or
early
80s, and a young woman who is on the search to figure out what happened to her sister. And I think this film is worth a watch. If you have not checked this film out this year, I strongly recommend it. It's a very, very good movie. And Brandon, what about you?
Yeah, this is a year. I collect horror films. I'm definitely a bigger collector than you guys are, but I'm not a diehard collector. But this is the first year in a while where we've talked about probably a dozen or 24 films already that I really want to buy.
Right.
And Censor's one of them. I just want these movies in my collection. For Hulu, obviously The Vigil was a standout for me, and that one popped up on there. But one I just wanted to also highlight that I enjoyed, and I'm not usually an eco horror person, was a film called Gaia.
Yes. Yeah, Gaia is a good film.
That was a great movie,
which was surprisingly good, because I'm usually the eco horror films are very slow burn, and this one is a little slow burn, but really, really visually stunning and has a really dark ending, which I enjoyed.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
I am glad you brought that one up, because that one was another one that I've been like trying to find, like, because I've told people about this one, like just you got to watch this. It's like eco-friendly. It's and the effects in it are freaking creepy and incredible.
Very creepy.
Like very excellent movie. So I guess I will go with most political relevant as the next award.
Isn't it best theatrical release?
Yeah.
Oh, mine must be I think I lost, like, something happened when I transferred over. So best theatrical release then would be for me would be let's go with Last Night in Soho again.
Last Night in Soho, and we all know why.
Yeah.
Excellent film. For me, it was Halloween Kills. Just kidding. It was The Night House. Which should have made more money than
I almost cut my
Kills.
mic and left.
Brandon was like, I'm fucking done. If I said Spiral, he would have unfriended me on Facebook.
He would have been like, Heather dies tonight.
Heather dies tonight. Honestly, The Night House, this was a film that should have made more money, and it's a fucking shame that it only made $14 million in the movie theater. It's a great film. Watch this film. It is the best theatrical release that came out this year. You heard it here on Friday Nightmares.
You heard it here first.
Right?
It's definitely one of them, but my choice is also Scott's choice. Last Night in Soho, man,
yes,
it's blown away by it, and yeah. I can't see anyone not enjoying this film. I know there was some critique about, and I talked about this last night also when we were doing Exploding Heads, but there was some critique about the idea that Eloise's character, you know, can see ghosts and can communicate with ghosts, but the idea that one of the entities she's communicating with isn't really a ghost. And I think people sometimes take it too literally that a ghost has to be the spirit of a dead person, when it could be, like in this case, the film is going for the deceased spirit of somebody we want it to be.
Yeah.
Or is this the spirit of the past?
The spirit of,
right? Like Ebenezer Scrooge in Christmas Carol goes back and see the former image of himself. He's still alive.
Yeah, and that's basically what this is, you know, the former image of what we strive to be. And, you know, obviously a film that is trying to warn against glamorizing the past, especially for those struggling in the present.
Yeah, excellent. Two excellent films. Definitely probably the best theater watches. I agree with you guys. Last Night in Soho was fucking phenomenal.
And Night House is amazing too.
I just feel like Night House never got the buzz it deserved. It was...
I think it's because it came out around the time of Candyman, and I think it just got overshadowed.
You're kinder than I am. You know what I think it is? It didn't have fucking Forever Purge or Halloween name attached to it.
That too, yes.
And I think horror film fans are still very much like stick to the franchises, stick to what you know, and don't support as much independent horror as we should. And I'm going to give a shout out to Venom because he's been saying that for years.
Yep.
Right. I think that's one of the biggest problems. So
anyway, I cannot shout out Venom.
No,
I cannot.
Brandon does not speak to Venom. I
will shout out Don and Ellie.
Only Don and Ellie.
Shout out to Donnie Rings.
Shout out to Don and Ellie. All right, Scotty.
All right,
bring us in for our next one.
Is the next one most political relevant, or did I miss another? Okay.
Yeah. Nope.
I'm back on track then. All right. So most political relevant one. Well, I just kind of briefly mentioned it there. Candyman. Like
same as me.
I was gonna say definitely hits with the 2021 vibes for sure. Talks a lot about what is the term again?
White privilege. Gentrification.
Gentrification. Yeah.
Take your pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, white privilege was in there, and like the treatment of Black people, and just like the way that like gentrification is basically
systematic racism.
Yes, and forcing people out of their homes just to make it better for the white and privileged people.
Right. Our issues with policing.
Amen.
In Chicago.
I mean, terrible.
Oh my God.
Brandon's like, that's what I support. Everyone should listen to Exploding Heads on Patreon for more of Brandon's positive opinions on things.
And I have to say, for all the people that were complaining that this was too fucking political and there's an agenda in this movie, do you not remember the first fucking movie?
I suggest you rewatch 1992.
Yeah, that movie fucking was all about the political subtext. And so if you're saying that about this new movie, fucking bite my ass.
Yeah, my issue with Candyman wasn't the political commentary. It was just the fact that I didn't enjoy it as much as the original.
Yeah, and that's
fair.
Yeah, it was that really what it came down to. I was just like a little underwhelmed with the actual film itself, but definitely politically relevant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sad that it's still politically relevant 30 years later.
Right. Well, I would say it's worse because I think the worst thing now is that we know about it and it just continues, right? And I did like how they kind of took a sidestep in this movie, and Fresh Cuts talked about this as well, and used different types of Candyman. So the different Candyman stories that exist, and it all comes down to racism. Like it all comes down, to superiority of races which exists. So it's a very politically relevant movie. But Brandon, what did you pick?
I also have Candyman. I also put Forever Purge. All these films that touch on
Forever Purge.
So the social political climate today, even a film like Safer at Home, which is touches on everything going on with the pandemic and really takes it to an even darker
extreme level. Yeah.
So,
well, on that note, I see Scott's hitting his vape. Do you want me to go, Scott?
Nope, I got it.
Yeah, Scott can do everything. He can hit that vape and fucking podcast at the same time. He's a fucking champ.
Because I'm the man. So the next award will be going to most reflective of 2021. For this one, I chose Homesick because this movie is basically about a man that comes home and is stuck in lockdown because of what is happening with COVID, and shows the just like degradation of his mind as he's sitting there in isolation by himself and completely lonely and bored out of his fucking mind like crazy. Obviously, this takes COVID to a little more of an extreme with like he can't drink the water after a while, and then like just starts finding the like dead bodies out in the world if he actually goes outside, just like laying on the street and shit. It went a little extreme, but you know, with horror, you got to ramp it up a little bit. But this film like just fucking nailed the whole like how a lot of people were starting to feel like being like just locked down and away from everybody and isolated, and like how much damage that can do to you mentally. Like I really felt for this guy, and I like this film just kind of like hit me pretty hard because I was like, you know, you guys know that I hate being alone and lonely, and like to imagine like this guy's life and just doing what he's doing, I was just like, fuck. Yeah,
You'll
that's
never be alone again.
hard. Aw, baby.
And you heard it here first on Friday Nightmares. The Scott and Brandon are together officially.
We're a couple.
They're a couple.
My boo.
My boo. Brandon actually mentioned this movie at the end of his politically relevant movies, and it's Safer at Home. I think Safer at Home really summed up the whole Zoom thing, the couple having the fight, like the gay couple having the fight about the drugs and hit their friends and forgetting to mute their microphone when they're having the fight. And then just the misunderstanding that happens and the really sad ending that occurs because of it. Yeah. I thought this took isolation and what's happening with COVID and pushed it. And there's even a scene at the end where they're like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And, you know, it wasn't fine. And it still isn't fine. So it's a very, very well done film. I will caution with everything that's going on in the world right now, this may not be a movie for you.
No.
So watch with care. You know, depending where you live and how things are going COVID wise, this may be one that you skip till the summer if you haven't watched it yet. But if you're okay with exploring, you know, how the world has changed and how relationships have changed, you could check this one out. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I feel the same. This one was a little tough because I felt like this also feels like it's politically relevant and reflective of just the time, and it's really the same films, The Safer at Homes, Forever Purge. I also put just to highlight it, because it's really reflective of any year, the film Lucky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like people just overwhelmingly shat on that film and hated it and just felt like it was.
Do you think it's because we have an overwhelming amount of men in the horror community that weren't ready to hear this message?
Yeah, but yeah. I think every guy was just immediately like, oh, all men are evil. That's what this film is saying. Like, no, that's not what it's saying.
No, it went over their head.
Yeah, it's like it's not a complicated film, but that's not what it's saying, and it was really haunting and not only reflective of this year, but reflective of our environment and reflective of the climate of the world. So, I was a little confused by this category because I also thought, like, are you talking about like a film that sort of sums up like what the year 2021 was like in terms of films? Because I was like, I almost was like, gotcha. Pick my favorite horror comedy because I'm like, this was like the year of horror comedy that just knocked it out of the park. But in terms of political, social, reflective of the times, I think Safer at Home would have been my first choice.
I think Lucky is a good one though, because I think, still, and I'm not trying to make anyone upset by my comment, but the reality is this: women are more likely to be subject to domestic violence. They are more likely to be subject to sexual assault. That is reality. And it happens every day, and it happens all around the world. And I think that, you may not engage in that behavior as an individual, but the reality is it happens. And that's what Lucky was trying to present.
Mm-hmm. And the response that people had to the film almost reinforces the message of the film.
Yes.
Because of how nonchalant the male characters in the film are. Like, oh, this is the guy who comes and tries to kill you every single night. Yeah. Like, it's so nonchalant. Like, yes, this is the threat that you face every single day. Yeah. All day for your entire life, but because we don't face it, we're just sort of cavalier and nonchalant about it.
And sweep it under the rug. Just
exactly.
Yeah, right. So I'm really glad you brought that to the table, Brandon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So this is the next category or the next award is one that I am not.
This one's hard.
Oh God.
Because this year has not been good for this type of genre. But that is Anthology Film of the Year. All right, so I went through. I know. I was gonna say I went through every anthology I watched this year, and I'm going. I really don't have one that just stands out. And so I think for me, I might get shit for this one from you too, but I think for me, I am gonna have to go with VHS 94. as much as I
That's okay.
didn't
There was some good segments in that one.
well, there was good segments, and also the reason I think of like this film is because us three watched it together for my birthday, so it means a little more to me. So that's the only reason I picked this film. It's like it has some segments like Hail Ratma that
Hail, I was about to say Hail Rat.
Hail
like, 'cause,
Ramen
like,
was great.
the
I
first two
actually like
segments.
that one.
Yeah, the first two segments were good. The third
Third
segment,
one was well done. It was just too long.
yeah, third segment was just too long, but it was still fun.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that third segment.
Yeah, and I'm like, it was fine.
it was okay. That fourth segment was dreadful.
Yeah,
It was trash.
I was
And
so
the wraparound
disappointed
was
in that one.
trash, but yeah.
And that was Scott's family in the fourth segment.
Yeah, that's actually what Scott does for a good time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, VHS 94 was the one I had to choose. I'm just like, there's really wasn't that many great ones this year, so I just looked for one that had like a special memory to me. So that was watch it with you guys.
I had the same problem, but I chose Isolation. And the reason why I chose Isolation is because there is a scene with two young kids trying to survive. And I was like emotional. I was like, I hope these kids make it. Like I was getting like real worried about these two little ones. And that is why that one won for me. The rest of the stories were not bad. They were okay. They were interesting enough. There was one about like one chick who took conspiracies too far.
Oh, I did love that one. That one was hilarious.
And there was like one guy who took getting sick too far and all that other shit. So it wasn't horrible. It was definitely like well capturing. But that scene with that one with those two little kids and waiting for their parents to come home who weren't coming home and they had to somehow survive together pulled on my feels. And yeah, so that's why that one for me. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, honestly, I put two films down on the list just basically because I like the idea behind what they were trying to do. I felt like neither one achieved anything above average, but one was called Scare Us. I like the idea of people gathering for a book club in this old-timey bookstore and telling scary stories.
That was a good one.
You know, a killer on the loose killing people within the neighborhood. It was a good setup. I felt like it was very predictable, and the actual stories within the anthology were just sort of lazy and underdeveloped, but I like the concept of it. Another one that I like the concept of, but didn't quite deliver was Phobias.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love the idea of playing on the phobias. I thought a few of them were cool. Some of them, again, were not so great. But the concept, both these concepts to me were like good concepts.
Awesome.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like
and
both
honestly,
of those were there.
Probably like 5.5, 6 out of 10s for both of these.
Yeah.
Like nothing special, but far from the worst I've seen. But anthologies did suffer this year.
Yeah,
they did. This was not a year for anthologies, unfortunately.
No. But this was a year for best international films.
Good thing you didn't say best domestic film because I feel like everything is international this year.
Yeah, like right. So yeah, I will have to say this one got brought up earlier, but that is The Maid. I fucking
Same
love
as me.
this movie. Nice.
Yeah.
Look at you guys twinning out so much.
I know.
Great minds think alike, Brandon.
Right.
Nice.
But yeah, this is thanks to you suggesting it. I watched it and did not expect it to go the way it did, and then that last 20 minutes went fucking insane.
Right.
My God, this movie was incredible. I did have a runner-up, and that was Censor, because just that's another great film.
And a British film, so it is international. Yep.
But yeah, like those are my choices. How about you, Heather?
Well, you said mine. Excellent film. Check it out if you guys haven't had a chance to. It is available on Tubi, The Maid. Brandon
and Prime also.
And Prime.
Yeah, and Dave Parker was the one who told me to check it out because based on the cover art, not that I'm a cover art, live or die by the cover art, but based on the cover, I was just like, oh, this looks like a generic Asian film that I'm probably skip. But it was solid. My choice is also a Thai film, and it's a found footage mockumentary called The Medium.
Excellent film.
Nice.
Yeah.
I never did get around to that one.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to. Like one of the best found footage mockumentaries of the year. Strong year for found footage mockumentary.
Very much so.
Type films, and man, from the group that wrote The Wailing, and this one's a little bit long. It's like a 2-hour, 10-minute film, but man, it's really well developed. And just a quick synopsis of the story. It's basically a documentary crew following around a shaman and her family, and chaos ensues.
Yeah.
When one of the family members becomes possessed, and they mistake it for the spirit of the goddess passing on from one shaman to the other, but it turns out to be something a lot more sinister. And man, it's dark. It's dark and it's unapologetic. And there's no comedy in this one. And the actress who plays the character's name is Mink, the one who's possessed in this film. She almost won Best Actress for me. She was runner-up.
Nice.
She is committed to this role. I felt like I was watching a documentary about a girl possessed. She was really good.
Fucking awesome. When she shoves that kid in the ball pit.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
There was so many iconic scenes when she's tormenting the kids in the ball pit. There's one where she's in the basement just lurking there in like the night vision. There's a scene with a dog. There's a scene with her,
Incredible film.
fornicating at the office, which Heather knows a lot about.
Oh man, that was me actually. I was her stunt double for that scene. Yeah.
Damn, I really regret that I never did get around to this one in time.
Well, it's never too late.
It's
This
never too
one
late, Scotty.
was Shudder, right? Yeah, this was Shudder.
Yeah, it was
also.
Shudder.
Yeah,
so
get on that.
Yep,
Shudder
I will.
Fucking killed it.
But yeah, because you know me, I was trying to watch a lot of the stuff at work, and this was one of those that I had to have to watch at home, and I just did not have the chance to because I knew it was a long film, and just never got to it, unfortunately. But our next award is most overhyped. For me, this was no contest. We made fun of it. No, I guess we didn't make fun of it nearly as much as we did Halloween Kills. But Malignant.
Oh my God, that was my same.
Honestly,
Best wigs ever.
We're triplets because Malignant. I had two choices, but Malignant was my number one choice. So we tripled out on that one.
Nice. Remember how excited we were, guys? And we were like, oh man, it's gonna be great. And we watched it, we were like, oh, that was all right.
It's like everyone built this one up for something. It was fun at the end, but it just was silly.
Hey,
it was fine.
Christian's with us on this one too.
Yep.
So
yeah, it was fine. It wasn't a horrible film. It really wasn't, but it wasn't one of the best movies of the year. It was just there, and it was a pretty easy plot to pick apart halfway through. And anyway, yeah. And Halloween Kills was my runner-up. Did you guys have that as your runner-up?
I did.
I did. I didn't. For my runner-up, because I looked at a lot of year-end lists online, I saw this film, and it's from a director I like, Ben Wheatley.
Oh,
In the Earth, another eco horror film. I've said it before. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but this one was so dreadfully boring that the fact that anyone liked it, even if one person in the world liked it, makes it overhyped because it was so fucking boring. And maybe it just went above me what was being said here, but I'm sorry. I love Kill List. I love Sightseers. I'm a fan of his, but this one just didn't do it for me. So
you're probably correct, because I talked to someone else who's not a podcaster who said the exact same thing. That's a big Ben Wheatley fan. And then
really?
So
okay,
I think your opinion is pretty consistent.
Right.
I don't even remember it. That tells you how unfucking connected I was. You
were probably in a coma, because that's what this film almost did. This film and Seder was another one.
Yes.
Seder was boring as fuck too. Yeah.
Man, I know it's getting praised, and part of me wants to go back and give it a watch. Maybe I missed something, but man, that was like taking propofol. That Seder might be the thing that killed Michael Jackson.
Yeah, these are overhyped films for sure. So
there are much better eco-friendly films like Gaia. What is that? Gaia, and then what was the one with Adrian Barbeau? Nope, that was
Unearth.
Unearth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unearth was really good. Yeah,
very good movie.
Good call.
But we talked about overhyped, so now we got to go with underhyped, and I went with this one just because it seems like I was the only one championing it for the longest time, and then a couple people either listened to the show and finally decided to watch it, or heard about it through other people. But I'm going with Ankle Biters or Cherry Pickers again, because this one just did not get talked about, and I feel it is one that should have, because it just got overlooked.
Yeah, it did, and it got overlooked probably because it's low budget, didn't have huge distribution, and hopefully this will be one that will probably be a cult following, right? For me, I've said it already, The Night House. This movie should have made more in the theater than it did, and it's a fucking shame that it didn't. And that's it. That's all I'll say about that one. Nice. And Brandon.
Yeah, I had two. 2 years ago, my number one film was a film called I See You, and the filmmaker put out a film this year called Night Keith, which was a lot of fun. Also a Netflix film. Just had a blast with it. A lot of fun.
Good film.
And another one that's getting good praise from Maury and Bastillo, who did Inside. They did Candicia also this year, but The Deep House, which took two ideas that have been done to death, underwater horror and haunted houses horror, and just combined it in what turned out to be an absolutely great film, and I really enjoyed it. So it is getting some love, but I feel like it's still a little underhyped.
Yes, exactly. Like I've heard a few people talk about it, but yeah, it is like it
Yeah.
is. Not enough people have watched it, I feel, and this is one that
Yeah.
needs to be seen
Agreed.
because it is very very tense. The next one is survival horror. So for this one, there wasn't too many this year that I could remember, or at least ones that I had not seen. I ended up going with 4x4.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, like the one where the guy is trapped in this like high-tech car because he decided to break into it and try to steal it, and
Yeah.
the
Good
car
film.
locks him in, and he's like stuck in there with
It's
unbreakable
a bait car,
glass.
right?
Yes.
Like it's yeah.
And man, like you at first you're like, oh yeah, this guy deserves it for what he's doing, but then as the movie's going on, you're going, oh, this poor guy is getting just tormented and tortured by the other guy on the other side of this, and like it ended up going to a place that I did not expect it to with like the way it ended up playing out. And man,
Yeah.
very good film. Once again, something I have not heard anybody else really talk about.
No,
On
I think
Prime now as well.
Yeah.
I think only the three of us have watched it. I don't know anyone else, and maybe Mark Nato.
Yeah, probably Mark Nato.
Like so, 4.
Yeah.
4 of us have watched it.
Got an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, it's a great film.
4x4. Yeah.
Definitely, it's a great, and then again, international film.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely good film. Check it out. For me, it was A Quiet Place too. I wasn't a big fan of the first Quiet Place. Twinsies. I really liked, like, I enjoyed the first one. Don't get me wrong, but I liked this one more. I liked there was more action in it. I really liked how the one young lady was kind of outsmarting a lot of things that were happening. I really enjoyed that piece of it, and I enjoyed the new characters that they brought into this. Brandon, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I felt like a lot of people, like, I felt like this one came and went. I feel like people enjoyed it, but the first one got so much praise, and I love the first one, but I also just equally love this one. It just did a great setup of the alien invasion. I like the idea of bringing Cillian Murphy into it. I think he's a great actor, and the daughter, Millicent Simmons, I think that's her name, who played Reagan, steps up, and the kids are really like the focal point and the leads in this, and the POV of really seeing through her eyes, and the fact that she can't hear, living in this world where being acute to sound is key to survival, and she can't. It was really horrifying. So I felt like the tension was there just as much for me as it was in the first one. So
agreed.
That's why I agree with you, Heather.
And wow, like this is A Quiet Place 2, great movie, and one I just didn't think about in the survival horror genre. Like I just didn't think of it as a survival horror film. Like it just didn't occur to me. But
but I'm glad you
brought
one. I'm glad you brought 4x4 though, because that's a good fucking film that people don't know about. You know?
Yeah, I was trying to think of strictly survival horror because I didn't think Quiet Place 2 fit into it. So I'm really glad that Heather had it on there, because I was almost gonna be like, is it survival horror?
It is 100%.
It absolutely
is.
I just didn't think of it at the time, but yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
So yeah, the next one, this is always the fun category. It's not horror. Yes, it is. So for this one,
it's our fuck you category.
Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
It's our fuck you category. We think it's a horror movie.
And I have a feeling this one may be I may be a twinsies or triplet with this
Hell
one.
yeah, say it.
It's got to be Silent Night.
Hell yeah, it is.
That is not mine.
Oh wow.
Mine is Don't Tell a Soul.
Oh.
We watched this earlier on this year, and I think people would argue that this is a crime drama more than it is, or a thriller. And I thought it was a fucking great, well-acted film. And the ending really solidified it for me.
Don't worry.
Because I think
so
if anyone missed that one from last year, I strongly recommend checking it out. It's a good, well-done film. But Silent Night is...
Yeah, I had a runner-up too, just because it's a film I really enjoyed and almost made my year-end list, but I just excluded it because it felt just more straight-up sci-fi, and it's Alexandra Aja's Oxygen.
Oh, and I did not see that one.
Good film.
It's on Netflix. Really, really enjoyed it, and but it just felt like a straight-up sci-fi film.
Yeah, but yeah, I wanted to like at least say with Silent Night, like this is like an end of the world scenario, and with what happens in this is what makes this horror, with the way that people go about everything. It like plays out like a black comedy, but it is, to me, it is horror.
Dude,
and
that tone from the beginning for me was just a sense of dread throughout. And if you don't feel it, that's fine. Like I won't argue. Like, you know,
Yeah, like because you
You know,
brought
you
up
could
very good arguments on your show when you talked about it, and yeah, I agreed with every one that you said.
Hey, and look, I was admitting I was wrong with some things last night because I've learned some things from listening to interviews with the director about it, about actual things that happened or didn't happen, and I was wrong on some things, and yet I still love it that much because I was able to make peace with it. But to me, it was definitely a horror film.
Yeah, but yeah, well, Don't Tell a Soul, same thing. Like I felt that one was horror. Like I didn't even think anything else.
Fucking
Like,
great film.
yeah,
And a lot of
great
people
movie.
forget that one because it came out earlier this year. It's one you should watch.
Yeah, another one you should watch too. It makes me think of Don't Tell a Soul is John in the Hole.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I rented it. Very good. It has, I believe Michael C. Hall was in that one.
Oh, nice.
He played Dexter. I believe it was
Oh, wow.
him as the father.
Nice.
But also very similar in tone
Nice.
to that. And so check that
That's
one
awesome.
out as well.
Hell yeah.
John in the Hole.
All right. So the next award is Haunting Done Right. So this one I have two. So I went with The Night House for the award because this was definitely like a very haunted film. Very well done, very well acted. Pretty much everything Heather and Brandon have said about this film, amazing. My runner-up was The Vigil.
Same with me. That was my number one. The Vigil.
Oh, nice.
Fucking awesome film. The main character, Art was his name. Was his name Brandon? You said his name earlier. The gentleman.
No, Yakov.
Yakos. Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal. Creepy, scary. And thank you for having something besides fucking Christianity in their fucking horror films.
Right.
Thank you for including other races, other religions and cultures. That was great. I found it beyond interesting. I really liked that movie. It came out February. I think Scott and I saw a copy of it.
Yep.
And I'm glad more people are getting to it now because it's a really good film.
Yeah, and I agree about The Night House certainly being a haunting done right, and also The Deep House.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Deep House was really good.
Really effective scares with those ghosts underwater and the way they moved, and of course, the Nothing, whatever he's called in The Night House. Just two great examples of hauntings done right.
Absolutely.
100% agree. This next category, though, I feel was made specifically for this movie, even though we had it last year. But is it sci-fi? Is it horror? Who cares? It's good. Instantly, the movie I thought of, Synchronic.
Nice.
That movie is sci-fi. It's horror. It's fucking good. Like I love the fact that this like weird drug is on the streets that somehow like just opens you up to being able to get transported to different times, and like crazy shit ends up just happening when you do this over, like when you do the drug over and over and over again. And like you could be gone for days, you could be gone for minutes. It's different each time, and you go to different parts of the world and different times, and it's fucking crazy and trippy. And I forget the names of the directors, but like
Benson and Moorhead.
Yes, Benson and Moorhead. But like every movie they have done has always just been so unique and so interesting. And
Resolution, The Endless,
The Spring.
Yeah,
man, every one of them just fucking great movies. And Synchronic is right up there as well. Like amazing movie.
Absolutely. For me, it was Meander. I think
Nice.
Meander is a film that a lot of people may or may not watch. It's a concept of Cube, only very different. There's only two actors in it, really, and well, I guess a third at the end. But it's fucking amazing. This woman that's in it steals the show. Gaia Weiss. So suspenseful.
Gaia Weiss is her name.
I know Brandon's a fan. He's seen it. He really enjoyed it.
I made sure I wrote her name down because I mean, it's really, there are a couple of other actors in it, but it's really a one-woman show. And if you're not on board with her, then you're not going to enjoy it. But she is fantastic, and she drives the film.
And the movie is just great.
Throughout this film, I thought, what would I do if that was me? I don't know if you guys did that, but I was like, what would I do? And there's one scene where she's very exhausted, we'll say. And I was like, I don't know what choice I would make at that point.
I would take the vaccine. give me the shot.
She's like, give me the COVID booster. But yeah, it's a great film. Please check it out if you haven't had a chance to. And Brandon, what's yours?
Mine was also Synchronic. Benson and Moorhead always make my list. They're very unique filmmakers that always bring a unique original idea. This one definitely took some inspiration from Beyond with
Yep.
with the idea of the pineal gland and the fact that the younger people with the underdeveloped pineal gland travel through time, whereas the older people, where it's calcified over, don't really travel. And then Anthony Mackie's character, because he has an underdeveloped pineal gland, is able to be our protagonist, is able to help rescue his partner's daughter.
Yeah, and this because this was a movie I seen like very early on in the year. Never did get a chance to rewatch it, but man, like certain scenes of this film have stuck with me since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, very.
And you and I, Brandon, were discussing like, would you consider this horror? Would you consider this sci-fi?
It made my top 21, so
nice.
I considered it horror, and I didn't really get any complaints except for the fact that people didn't see it. But I definitely consider it horror. And the scene for me that sticks with me is Hawking disappearing.
Yes,
the dog.
Man.
Oh God.
Yeah, that hit.
Oh man, oh God, tugs at the heartstrings. But what a really good, unique film.
Yeah. These two movies like were the two that I thought of like right away were Meander and Synchronic, because Meander also like that's very sci-fi-ish, cube-like, but also horror elements and just amazing.
Awesome. Both awesome films, right?
Yeah. The next category, a little too real. I have two for this one. Brandon kind of briefly mentioned this one earlier, but Lucky. I did give this I have to take back what I said about the film way earlier in the year, because I watched it last year when Shudder decided to premiere it one night only on Halloween night. Not the best movie to watch on a Halloween night, and really threw me off on like what this movie was about, and I didn't fully understand it. And then having a little more I guess insight to the film and going back and rewatching it, and just like what women have to deal with like constantly, like the fear of this type of shit happening all the time, and the men just like we were saying kind of sweeping it under the rug.
Without giving too much information, you've met people this year that have had this experience, and I think that's what makes the difference.
Yes, it does.
Right.
Yeah. And like holy crap, this film a little too real. The other one, this one we both watched really earlier in the year, and I'm not sure if Brandon's seen it or not. He never talked to us about it as far as I know, but Run, Hide, Fight.
Yeah, that was really upsetting.
I saw it,
Yeah, that one.
School shooting with really graphic violence.
It was very graphic.
Like very graphic. One hit hard. Like I was like, oh, fuck. Like, but yeah, little too real for both these films. Like they hit it pretty hard.
No, it was a good film. The only thing that maybe kind of, I mean, I didn't consider it horror, but the only thing that kind of maybe detached me a little bit from it at the end was how coincidental that her father's an expert sniper.
Right.
Well, he was in army. He was in the army. In all fairness, right? They do set that up at the beginning. So
then I do have to say, I heard someone say this is basically Die Hard in a school, and you're not wrong. It is, but it's a little more darker.
And I think it's a reality that shit like this happens, and we shouldn't have school shootings. Can we all just accept the fact that maybe kids shouldn't go to school being afraid that they're going to be fucking shot? Anyway,
right?
Pro school shooting.
I feel like America is, to be honest, or you guys would be doing a whole lot more to prevent them.
Right.
We don't have those numbers of shootings in Canada, and we have guns. So we do have school shootings, but nowhere near the extent. We still talk about Polytech that happened in the fucking 80s. So
right.
Gives you an idea, right?
And here, like, one happens almost every other day, and it just doesn't get talked about because it's just common.
Because it's just common now, right? Yeah. Anyway, that political side, it is real, and I guess that's politics. Mine was false positive. I have a friend that's currently going through fertility treatments, and this movie fucking nailed it. Like, it nailed exactly what happens. I went with her for one of her treatments, and the experience was just like that. Like, mine is Pierce Brosnan not being the doctor. Right. So, like, it was just, and then
it was Sean Connery.
It was Sean Connery. And then there's a conversation she has with her male coworkers about her being pregnant, and just some stuff that people say to you. And it's true. Like, there is some stuff that as a female, and I say this as a female who's chosen not to have children, that people will say to you. And it's just really, really real. It's a real raw dialogue. So I really
very real
the movie for that.
Great choice. Brandon, how about you?
I went with Coming Home in the Dark just because of the idea of suppressing your actions and sort of denying any wrongdoings, and that's what our lead character sort of does. Our lead character Hoagie does throughout, and I feel like that's sort of a common theme amongst people. Oh no, it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. And
I was just there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw that also in A Promising Young Woman.
Yes.
We saw that also there.
I still haven't seen that movie.
That
man, you got to
amazing.
see that movie. It's great. It's a 2020 film, so I didn't.
No, I know.
I still haven't
seen it for some reason.
Oh man, it's a good film. You'll really like it, Brandon. All right.
So the next one, best horror documentary.
Not comedy, not best horror comedy.
I have horror comedy.
Oh, okay, my list must be screwed up then, because best horror. Okay, my best horror comedy is like 4 categories down. I don't know what's going on here, but
that's okay.
Best horror comedy then. So I'll do that first. So I have 2 for this one. Obviously this one's been brought up, and I brought this one up earlier, and I fucking love it. But Psycho Gorman again. I never laughed so fucking hard this year till I watched this movie, and my God, I was in tears with some of the shit that was going on in it. I also have a runner-up, and that is Benny Loves You. Just because another cute, adorable, funny movie, and just,
oh wow,
and just like with the way Benny writes, "I'm gonna kill you, bitch," or something like that, and it's all misspelled, and
when he puts the apostrophe in to like,
yeah. It's just so adorably demented and hilarious, and like Benny is one of the most cutest killers ever.
Absolutely, I love the film too. It's great. My 2 are Slack, which I already talked about earlier. I don't need to go into, and Vicious Fun, which has already been up as well. 2 of my favorite horror comedies that came out this year, though there was a lot of good other ones. Like there was a lot of really good horror comedies. Yeah, those were just the 2 that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, horror comedy was awesome. Vicious Fun, definitely. I'm glad you mentioned that one as well. But there was only one choice for me, and it was Benny Loves You.
Yeah.
Just the epitome of a perfect horror comedy to me.
Love that movie so much. Love them. Yeah. Loved all these movies that we're mentioning here, because
awesome.
Horror comedies nailed it this year. Werewolves Within would have been another one on my list too.
Good one too. Yeah.
All right, so Heather, what is the next category to make sure I'm giving the right one?
Best horror documentary.
Okay, now we're back on track. All right, so best horror documentary. This one, there were 2 that I was going back and forth with. So I will I'll do both of them. So the one I'm giving this to is Tales of the Uncanny. Just because I'm a huge anthology lover, and if you are not as well versed in horror anthologies, check out this documentary, because man, they cover everything, every freaking thing.
I was so mad we saw this one after we did our top 5 anthology segments.
Oh, I know, right?
Why couldn't we have watched this like a week before we did that show? But perfect.
I'm also glad we didn't, because then I would have felt like we were stealing their thunder with the whole like best anthology story, because they did that at the end instead.
Yeah, they did do that.
But great fucking anthology, documentary, talking about everything you could think of anthology wise. Incredible. And then my runner up is Clapboard Jungle.
Same with me. That was my number 1.
Yeah, that one's fucking amazing.
I think that one just showcases what it's like to be an indie filmmaker. Mm-hmm. And I think people sit back you know what I mean? It's like when you have people that watch NFL and they're like, I could be a better quarterback, as they shove Cheetos into their face. And
exactly,
I feel like this movie, for all those people that are like, I could make a better film, gives you a reality about how hard it is to make a fucking film.
Yeah.
And I think it's very humbling. So I recommend it strongly to people. Watch this in early January, still stands true today. It's the best documentary, in my opinion, that came out this year.
Yeah, Brandon, awesome. I was surprised, because I enjoyed that one a lot. And we're watching this filmmaker struggling to get his film made. And then at the end, he gets his film made, and it's a film called Life Changer, and it made my top 19 in 2 years ago. And it's on Netflix. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize that this is who we're following. So check out the film as well. Life Changer on Netflix and Clapboard Jungle. Tales of the Uncanny was my runner up. And my first is just, I hope they keep pumping out a part 3, part 4, part 5, indefinitely. And it's In Search of Darkness, part 2.
Yes.
I love these types of films. I can watch these. They're 4.5 hour long documentaries that honestly, trailers talking about these, supposed to be more obscure horror films, but unfortunately, because we've watched so much, they're just like regular films to us now. But it's so awesome still seeing people talk about their love for these films.
And I will give part 2 more credit, because part 2 did dive deeper into some of the stuff that's more obscure compared to part 1.
It did.
But great freaking documentary.
Awesome.
It's it's 4.5 hours long, but it's like the fastest 4.5 hours I've ever sat
Yeah.
through. 'Cause
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
I watched that in one. Yeah, I watched that in one sitting easily. It was just like
Easy.
just watching it all.
I remember being sad when it was done.
Yeah, I'm like,
Right? I was like, oh,
Where's
I want more.
Where's part
All right.
three?
And yeah, part three will be coming out, it sounds like. So we'll be getting that soon.
Good. Yeah, it's a good documentary. So
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll make sure my categories are still good. Is the next one Best Uncorked?
It is.
nope, I have best indie, but we'll just do best uncorked because you both have. That's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
look at that.
Okay, our lists are mixed up somehow. Okay, interesting.
It's fine.
So yeah, Best Uncorked Film. This one, there was only one choice for me, and that is Digging to Death.
Same here. Same here. The rest were fine. I did watch some of them. They were typical uncorked, but this is the one where you're like uncorked. You did it. You don't always do it uncorked, but today you did. What about you, Brandon?
Exactly.
I liked the film called Antidote. It was good. I liked Digging to Death, but my favorite was Bright Hill Road.
Bright Hill
Oh
Road.
yeah,
was
that's right.
great.
Bright Hill Road was awesome.
Yeah, and an underrated performance from the lead, Siobhan Williams. I thought she did a terrific job. She really carried the film, and
another good story about addiction.
Yeah.
Yes,
I forgot about Bright Hill Road. Yes,
Yeah.
that was definitely a good one.
Yeah, that would have been my runner-up actually.
So just say the award, Scott, and I'll just find it on my list if I'm out of order.
Okay, so next one for us now is Best Indie Film. For me, I went with We Need to Do Something. I freaking love this movie. I might be a little more biased just because this is Michigan-based, Michigan filmed, filmed in a soundstage, only about an hour and a half away from me. All-around performances, fantastic. One of the most frightening, scariest moments this year for me with the whole good boy scene. My God, that just gave me the deep down chills, like my whole body. I just like tightened up and going, what the fuck is going on?
That was definitely the scariest moment of the year. I had two scary moments for the year, but definitely Who's a Good Boy just literally made me almost shit myself. And the other was in Caveat with the first appearance of a ghost, just seeing her face in the distance, and I was just like, the fuck is that?
But yeah, like that when that good boy scene happens, that's when because at first I'm going, okay, so this is gonna be some type of survival horror film where they're just trying to survive in this bathroom because they're trapped or whatever, and it's just gonna be built up tension. Then you're going, oh no, there is something way more sinister going on here.
For sure.
But yeah, fucking love this movie, and I had to give it props for this one.
Oh
absolutely. For me, it's Super Hot. Brandon brought it up earlier. I think Super Hot is an underrated indie film, truly made on low budget, similar to Ankle Biters, and people should check it out. It's a fucking fun film.
Yeah, I feel like I should have Super Hot as my pick because
what's yours?
Man, I love it. Mine's Benny Loves You. I can't praise this film enough. And
I agree, though.
It's just awesome. The fact that Carl Holt, who wrote, directed, and as I mentioned earlier, did everything in the film and stars in it. It's just that, I mean, it's the definition of indie. He literally did everything to get his project made, and it's such a fantastic film.
Yeah, great.
But Super Hot is so much fun. Like, I'm so glad that got mentioned. Obviously, We Need to Do Something. These are all films I praise highly.
The year of indie films, man. The year of indie films.
It's been like, the indie films this year have been incredible. So this one, we're going to kind of take a step away from horror for a quick second and do best non-horror film. For me, there were actually two that I wanted to bring up. One, shockingly enough, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but
Mortal Kombat!
No, I do love Mortal Kombat, but for the two films I've seen this year, I'm just shocked. Okay, well, I'll give the award first, then I'll give my runner-up. The runner-up is the shocking one. But the award for best non-horror film for me is The Green Knight. This movie is right up my fucking alley. I mean, yes, it's A24, Heather. I know, blah, blah, blah. But
a 24-hour film.
But this is basically talking about the Green Knight legend from the Arthurian legend. I am a huge Arthurian, I love King Arthur and the story of all that, but it's feeling Lancelot. The way it is filmed is incredible. It is beautifully shot. It is the fantasy genre right up my fucking alley.
Did they use cameras from the Green Knight period?
They did. Yes. They went back and they used cameras from the Green Knight period, which made Scott like it more. And then they made everyone walk around in armor the entire time.
Yes.
No matter how hot it was. Keep that fucking armor on.
Milady, would you like an ale?
But this one was one of those that I would say is very borderline. I would not be arguing with anybody if they put it on their horror list. This one just wasn't horror enough for me, but it was an amazing fucking movie. Performances all around were incredible. The
Nice.
Green Knight itself looked fucking awesome, and like there were some good gory moments to it, and it just like a talking fox, which was just adorable, and I loved it. But yeah, this movie, awesome, awesome, awesome. This is a 10 out of 10 film for me. Like I will be buying this movie.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Oh,
What was your
wow.
runner? What'd you say your runner-up was?
No, we haven't even got there. You're still talking about the fucking Green Knight.
I thought he said it really quick at the beginning.
No, I started tripping over my own words. I meant to leave the runner-up for last. So
Too excited.
Oh, okay.
this is the one where I'm kind of shocked I'm putting it on my list because I never would expect I would have something from this universe on here. And that is from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What? Off this fucking show.
But I have to say, Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie was so much freaking fun. And the fact that they like are bringing in like stuff from the old Spider-Man films that Sony did back in the early 2000s with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all this shit. Like it was such a well done, like actually kind of a heart-wrenching story too, like with what happens in this movie, and like actually it made me tear up a little bit, and like but at the same time was a ton of fun and hit me with the nostalgia.
Okay. Oh my god. So now that Scott's done talking,
Fuck,
thank
man.
God, Green Knight. Oh my god. Thank God it was a
Lord. I haven't seen either one of those films yet, but I want to
It's
see both.
okay. You don't need to see it. You're
I
not
don't
a
really
virgin,
want to.
so
I don't
you
really
need to
want
watch
to
Green Knight. Just kidding, Scott. Green Knight, I've heard from other people, is a good film. I'm just teasing you. So mine was the beta test because I thought that movie fit my comedy and stuff. If people haven't checked it out yet, if you like The Wolf of Snow Hollow, you'll like this film. It's based on like if you had an opportunity to have anonymous sex and you're in a relationship, would you take it, and the problems that come with that. But my favorite line was "Get over here" from Mortal Kombat, because that's what I say to my dates, and then I say "finish him" as I'm finishing off. So
Bravo.
Get over here. That's what I say all the time.
And then when she's done, flawless.
And then I'm flawless victory. The guy's like, "Can I leave now?"
He's just sitting there going,
It's just like, this is getting real fucking weird.
Fatality.
Oh no. Oh no.
Actually, my nights usually end.
Round 3.
I don't even get round. My nights definitely don't end with round 3. What do they end with in the Mortal Kombat universe?
Friendship.
I know. Brandon's like, "You have reached French zone."
Friendship.
Oh, love it.
Oh my god. All right,
Good
Brandon,
choice.
What's your favorite?
Mine is the poor man's John Wick, and it's called Nobody with Bob Odenkirk.
That's
and
a great
Lloyd.
film.
This film is amazing. This film is absolutely like, I didn't know what I was getting into watching it, but man, it was absolutely one of the best action films I've ever seen. Just so much fun.
I need to see this one still.
Bob Odenkirk's amazing. Christopher Lloyd's amazing. RZA is in it for a little bit. It's such a good film.
Yeah, I have heard nothing but praise for this film, and I need to watch it.
Awesome.
It's not A24, but Scott may watch it. He only likes A24 films.
Smart ass.
Scotty, what's our next fucking award?
All right, the next category is Best First Time Feature Length Directorial Debut.
I feel like Scott's about gonna steal mine.
I'm not sure actually, but like there was a lot to choose from this year. There were a lot of first time feature length directors like that, just did incredible jobs. But the one I went with was Censor.
I went with the same.
Yeah,
nice.
because like just an incredibly well done movie.
How do you say the name?
The director. Oh yeah,
Censor.
Is it Pano?
You like that? Censor.
Is that how you say it? Is it?
You guys aren't even prepared.
I have the name Pano Bailey Bond.
Yeah, it's Prano Bailey Bond.
Prano Bailey Bond. Yeah.
Prano Bailey Bond.
Censor.
How do you say mine's Censor? How do you say the name?
Censor.
I actually went with a film that I feel like you guys have been blowing the whole night, which I love, but I, just finally shows up in the war with Sean King O'Grady. We Need to Do Something.
Yeah. It was.
So that was my choice. I wanted to highlight that film from my end. So
that is probably would have been mine, but I completely forgot that was the first time directorial debut.
yeah, I think.
Oh my god! For as much as you blew it, I don't know.
I think
how
he
you
might have done a
fucking forgot.
documentary, but like for I still highlighted it anyway.
Yeah, like I'm glad you did, because that one's just incredible first time movie like that. All right, so next is best practical effects. This one I have to go with my hunky boy again and go Psycho Gorman, because the practical effects in this were fucking amazing and fit the film with what they were going with. So like if you are a fan of like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you get some really awesome costume designs from the alien creatures that show up in this movie. The paladins are these angel-like beings that just look like their skin is pure armor, but it's actually their flesh and just looks freaking sweet. Not surprising, since Steven Kostanski is a well-known makeup effects or a practical effects makeup guy, and he directed this film and put all of his work into this. You can tell that's where the budget of this movie really went, was in the designs of the costumes, the gore effects, because the poor biocop, as I would like to call it, because it's definitely a nod to their fake trailer, biocop. But the guy gets basically melted, and he's just like still alive somehow, and like trying to kill himself the whole time, but his face is all
funny.
gooey and gory.
That's funny.
And then the poor little boy that gets turned into the giant brain that's just walking around the whole time.
Such a weird film.
It really is. But the practical effects are out of this world good. I agree, Scotty. That would have been my pick, but I decided to go a little more basic. And I decided to go with The Night They Knock. And I decided to go with the pool ball scene. Because I thought that for The Night They Knocked.
Oh, the night. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and the pool ball scene where they put So I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you haven't seen this movie, it is a low budget film on Prime. And yet again, if you're looking at doing your own fucking film one day, everybody, you need to watch these films to get an idea of what you're actually working with. And the practical effects that was done in this film were quite good. Psycho Gorman, obviously, they had the budget though. They had the money, they could go over the top, and they did a great job. But if for bare budget practical effects, The Night They Knocked, that kill to me stood out.
Yep. And I have to say, The Night They Knocked, if you're gonna go watch it, ignore the cover, because the cover does make it look like something extremely generic and like it won't be good. But this was definitely a surprise watch for all of us.
Yeah, Tubi as well.
Oh, it is on Tubi. Okay, nice.
Tubi.
What is yours, Brandon?
I went with Sound of Violence.
Nice.
Yes.
I had to, as much as like I wanted to like the film more, I still give it a decent enough score, but I thought the kills and the effects in it were just brutal. And even though the boombox kill and everything looks awesome, and I do think it's silly, it does look awesome, but I feel like all the kills that came before look equally as awesome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like the sound booth kill.
Oh my god, you get an exploding head. How can I not highlight a film that has an exploding head in it?
Right.
I like exploding heads too, Brandon. All right, I think we're finally at our last one, because Scott added 15 more awards for 5 hours.
Scott wants to talk about Psycho Gorman some more, the Green Knight.
Green Knight.
No, give me a moment. I will. I can do this all day, boys.
or do I?
Or my lady.
I don't like hunky boys or sexy women. Or do
I? I think Scott's funnier than Psycho Gorman.
That is funny.
But our last award is for most stylish, and
you graded it for one film.
I literally did. Like, I couldn't help it. But
for Psycho Gorman.
Or did he?
Or did I? But nope. The most stylish film for me, Last Night in Soho. I mean, it's a painting come to life in a way. It's beautiful. Everything, like the way it is edited, is beautiful and stylish. The way it edits with music, the way it just looks, the costuming and everything, just this movie just oozes style for me. Like, incredible, beautiful film.
I had Last Night in Soho, but I want to shout out Meander, because Meander was another movie that was fucking stylish and awesome this year that came out.
Yeah.
Agree with both of those. And I had Last Night in Soho, but then when I realized what Scott did there with creating this, I had to highlight another film which made my top 20 and probably would have been higher if I got to see it more than once, but Titane.
Yes.
Nice.
Just a great film that a lot of people are talking about, and very stylish.
Yeah, very, very stylish. And like, What is her name?
And some great kills, and it almost had a best kill in it, because even though you don't really see much, there's a kill involving a stool.
Yeah, yeah. Like within that first act, some of those kills were insane.
Well, those are our 2021 horror awards. We hope that we gave some films that you hadn't seen and you hadn't checked out. And what we're going to do now is we're going to very quickly go through our top 10. So we're just going to list each of us our top 10. I'll go first because I'm already talking.
Yep, and then we'll do our honorable mentions after that.
Oh, well, no, we'll just do honorable mentions altogether. I'll do my top 10 and honorable mentions. Like, we don't need to drag this out, right?
Okay.
We're going to be mentioning films we've already seen. Number 10 for me was The Stylist. I really enjoyed this film. Stuck with me throughout the year. Candyman was my number 9. Number 8 was Slack. Number 7 was The Medium. Number 6 was Benny Loves You. Shout out to you, Brandon. The 5th was The Night House. The 4th was We Need to Do Something. And then my top 3, which honestly could be interchangeable any day of the week. So I have them ranked 1 to 3, but I love them all equally, is The Sound of Violence, Last Night in Soho, and Censor.
Nice.
And my honorable mentions are The Djinn, My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To, The Vigil, Chompy and the Girls, Vicious Fun, Fear of Rain, Digging to Death, and False Positive. And we'll post our top 10s after this episode is dropped. We'll ask Brandon to just send us his message. Or will we? And people can see it, but our awards are our focus, which is why I'm just going through the top 10s quick. So Scotty, go ahead.
All right. So my number 10 is My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To. Just like we've talked about this movie, it's a great drama horror film with very incredible acting. But my number 9 is Cherry Pickers, aka Ankle Biters. I said this would be in my top 10 by the end of the year, and yep, it stayed there. I had so much fun with this film. My number 8 is Censor. We've talked about that a million times. My number 7 is Broadcast Signal Intrusion. Freaking just creepy ass film, really well done. My number 6 is The Maid. Another just fantastic international film. My number 5 is Fear of Rain. My number 4 is Psycho Gorman, which I bet people were shocked it's not higher up.
Not your number 4.
You're not my number 4. My number 3 is We Need to Do Something. Number 2 is Silent Night. And number 1 is Last Night in Soho. Then my runners-up are Sound of Violence, Jacob's Wife, The Vigil, Benny Loves You, Howard's Mill, and Chompy and the Girls.
Awesome. All right, Brandon, bring us in.
Right.
The most anticipated top 10 of the year.
I don't know about that, but I think it's got a lot of common films. My number 10 was Vicious Fun.
Nice.
My number 9 was Coming Home in the Dark.
Nice.
My number 8 was a film we didn't really talk about much, but it did win an award on Exploding Heads for best score by me, which was Come True.
Oh, nice.
It's also on Hulu, so check that out. Number 7, To Be Found Footage, my favorite found footage film of the year, Howard's Mill. Also, we talked about a lot. Absolutely haunting film. Has Lake Mungo vibes in the sense that it lingers with you long after it's over.
Sure does.
So check that out. My number 6 is The Trip on Netflix. I told you, Norwegian film. Great. Check it out. Number 5, Benny Loves You. Just a perfect horror comedy. Number 4, The Vigil. Great horror film set in the Orthodox Jewish community. Number 3, Last Night in Soho. Again, these top 3 can be interchangeable, but Last Night in Soho, fantastic film. Number 2, Broadcast Signal Intrusion.
Nice.
And my number 1, Silent Night.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow,
Awesome.
like we had some very different.
The two films. My number 12 was The Medium, and my number 11, which just missed out on the top 10, which was All My Friends Are Dead on Netflix, which I fucking love. Honestly,
awesome.
I am like I said it earlier this week, but I was like, I have a feeling like a lot of people's top 10s are going to be vastly different this year because there was just such a variety of good films. But I had figured like us 3 would have more similarities, but we had some pretty good variety in our top 10 this year. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, like, you guys had films that obviously we did a top 21 that I had in my top 21, and even the ones that didn't make my list were ones that I did rewatches. Like I did like 35 rewatches. So literally my top 35 were like all films that were mentioned. There's really nothing that I feel like you guys missed that I didn't love. So, I mean, out of 290 films watched, to have all these films be at the top of the pile shows that we share pretty similar and pretty solid taste in film.
Which means you just have to listen to Brandon, Scott, and I, and then you'll know what movies to watch. Basically, is what we're saying.
Except for because we're awesome.
Which is weird that Scott didn't say lamb. I was pretty sure lamb because it's A24. Did you know that they used the same lambs in every scene to keep it consistent?
Yeah, Scott? they used lambs from the old days.
Yes, they went back in time and they got old lambs.
Oh my God.
I gotta give props to Derek just because he had the best description of lamb, which is a fucked up version of Paddington, which is really what this film is. It's true. It's really a messed up Paddington.
It really is, and not a bad film. Well acted, just not a bit. Weird. Like an A24 film.
Cute lamb.
Very cute lamb. Oh my God.
And Scott's number one will be The Northman, by the way, everybody. So you don't even need to tune into 2022. And Brandon and I will fall asleep.
My least anticipated is The Northman. I almost fell asleep looking at the poster the other day. Do not operate heavy machinery while looking at the poster. Honestly, for 2022, there's one film that I'm dying to see, and it's strictly based off of
Scream 5.
No, because we know nothing about it. It's Nope.
Yes.
Nope. Yes.
Nope. Nope. Yes.
Jordan Peele's good. He keeps his secrets.
Fine. Keep your secrets.
Keep your secrets.
But he'll peel back the layers on that soon.
Oh yeah, he will.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, he will. Yeah.
Yep, Nope and Evil Dead Rise are the two I'm looking forward to seeing this year.
And The Northman. Scott's already number one. Number one for Scott this year is The Northman. You heard it here at the beginning of this year.
I'm having a feeling that will not be a horror film, so I'm just gonna not say horror.
You'll make it a horror movie.
It's like 13 hours long.
Right.
The 11th hour was my favorite hour.
I really like that they used Viking ships from the Viking time, and then they made everyone become Vikings, and they had to live like Vikings.
I like that they actually filmed it in Minnesota, which is the home of the Vikings, and it was really, really cool. And they filmed it in the North because it's called The Northman, and they used men who were originally from the North.
Hey,
Scott, we love you.
This is for my Game of Thrones fans. The North remembers.
Yeah. Okay. Look, we're not nerds, so you're talking.
I can't believe that of the three of us, Scott's the one that's not single currently.
You know what? Actually, it is a shock, honestly.
And not only that, not that this is a bad thing, but the fact that he's in a heterosexual relationship shop.
Now you've totally given it away, though. Scott can't get all the mad bitches that he was hoping to get from this podcast.
Oh, they're mad
so
if they're with them. They're mad.
So many mad. They're mad.
Oh my God.
They're mad bitches.
They're mad.
Don't we have to go make some ornaments, Scott? Anyway.
You're such a smart ass.
Hey, Brandon, are you cold? Would you like a sweater? It's too bad. Scott can't give you a sweater.
Yeah, Scott gave them all away.
Oh, I love you and hate you guys
totally
at the same
went from
time.
a real professional horror award show to us just making fun of
Really?
Scott.
This was a blast. This was a blast.
Right. Yeah.
Actually,
was it ever professional though? Was it ever really that professional?
No, it's true. We're not.
And your listener appreciates everything you do for this show.
Our one listener.
Yeah.
Mom,
No.
for tuning in.
Dozens.
In fact,
we
I'm
got
not
at least
even
48 listeners.
Release the show. I think we're just recording this, and Scott doesn't even release.
We record it and then we watch it, Scott and I, over and over again.
Honestly, we should watch this next movie night. It'd be better than half the Shudder films.
Well, and don't worry, I'm keeping this for my private collection when I'm
or am I?
Or am I?
I kind of want to watch Psycho Gorman.
But thank you so much, Brandon, for joining us.
This was a blast. Thank you for having me. Seriously, I love doing these types of shows, and I love recording with you guys.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you joined us for this one because it when we're doing this award show, it's you are the one person we think of that we would want to have on because you watch just as much shit, and we just have so much fun.
Not to offend all our other guests, we like having you on too, but Brandon's special.
Yeah, no, but we watched a ton of films. Probably if you add up we probably watched 350 different films between the three of us.
Oh, absolutely.
And even though and Brandon won't admit this, three of us are very close, and I think that makes a very big difference when you're actually. Hence why there's so many inside jokes and shit that we're making against each other, because this is stuff we would make off air that we're just making on air. For Scott's.
Yeah, if I wasn't close with Heather, I probably wouldn't be sleeping with her mother.
It's true.
And And if Brandon and I weren't so close, we wouldn't be cuddle buddies.
Yeah, we are definitely. I'm a little spoon.
And I'm the big spoon.
Hell yeah, you are.
Sleeping with my mom. It never gets old. It never gets old.
It doesn't get old. I just hope your mom's not.
Mom.
I hope your mom isn't like one day. Oh, send me an episode. I want to hear what you guys talk
Be like,
about.
oh, I got one for you, Mom.
Listen to the best of 2021.
Who's this gentleman that talks about having sex with me? You know, I'm married to your father. Like,
I don't know why, but that impression of your mother was spot on.
that is like, oh, you know, well, usually her mouth is full when you're talking to her, though, when you're around, right? So,
Is it though?
is it though? Well, her daughter learned it from somewhere. Finish him. Anyway.
Victory.
No, flawless fuck. That's what it would be.
Flawless fuckery.
Round 3, fuck. Anyway.
Friendship.
That's Brandon's. You have reached friendship zone.
Oops, babality.
Brandon takes his sweater back that he gives to the girl. That's the ending scene. Okay, so we're gonna move on now.
Oh my God.
Because now we're getting too much into our personal joking that nobody's gonna get. So
that's what makes it funnier. We joke about stuff that nobody has any idea. Those are the best jokes.
I guess. I hope so. So thank you again, everyone, for your support this year. We do really, truly do appreciate it. Thank you again. Thank you, Scotty.
Yep.
Or Brandon. I guess you want to plug Exploding Heads. Do you want to push the Patreon?
Not really.
Well, you've heard Dave C on here. You've heard Christian. You've heard Brandon. We plan on having all 3 of them on. Oh, imagine how that one's gonna go.
That'd be fun.
In 2022. Oh no!
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Please, if you haven't become a Patreon for Exploding Heads, please do. It is worth your money. These 3 gentlemen are out of this world funny, great chemistry, easy to listen to, and even though Brandon is our fave, we love Dave and Christian. The 3 of them together are the 3 musketeers of horror, only better. So
167 episodes now, and we do 3 shows a month. We're off. We have one more episode, then we're off till March, but we should be hitting 200 this coming year.
Nice.
And they're great. They're really great. And be whatever level Patreon you can be, because they got lots of different levels. You should see what you get at the $200 level.
Hell yeah.
I'm getting a date with Brandon, and I get to meet Junior.
Oh man, that's like, what do you get?
Junior's Dave. Junior's Dave. With me, it's the Green Knight. Yeah.
All right, Scotty, on that note, why don't you see us out?
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, thank you, Brandon, for joining us, because we love you, buddy, and glad you could be us. I do want to bring up that our next 2 episodes are going to be a 2-parter, because we are.
Oh no! Don't tell Brandon. He doesn't know. He's going to want to join us now. Look at him! Look at his eyes! They just lit up.
It'll probably drive him insane.
Which part do I get?
You get the front end.
Yeah, my favorite end.
But yep, we're doing a 2-parter because our 50th episode will be coming up very shortly. And so what we are going to do is Heather and I are going to be listing off our top 50 favorite horror films of all time. So we're going to do 50 through 26 for the first part of the episode, and then the next episode will be 25 to number 1.
I don't know where we got the idea from. Not Exploding Heads top 50 slashers. Definitely not Exploding Heads top 50 slashers.
So this list is going to drive me freaking insane, but it's going to be so much fun to do this.
This is my favorite list since Schindler's List.
And he can say that because he's Jewish. It's okay, everybody. He's Jewish.
It turns out Schindler's List was actually a grocery list.
Anyway, Scott.
Not all jokes can be winners.
I don't know. I prefer the sequel.
Look,
Schindler's
we just
Fist.
lost our 3 listeners.
Did you say Schindler's Cyst?
No,
Fist.
Schindler's Fist.
I thought you said Schindler's Cyst. That's disgusting. Schindler's Fist is
Fist?
somehow
that's much better. Fisting is much more appropriate than sissing.
Oh my God.
Schindler's Fist.
But on that note, everybody, once again, thank you all for listening. This has been a lot of fun. And we can't wait to have you join us all for 2022. So until next time, everybody, have a great one and unpleasant dreams.
See ya. Brandon, say bye.
Oh, sorry. I thought I didn't want to interrupt. Bye, everyone.
Perfect.